find a cure for that. It seems like they could.
Do you know why
reverse the
men
aging
die
process.
before married men die before their wives? They want to.
Just to let you know, because you should know.
Hey, thanks for joining us today. Today I think we have something that's going to be really fun. We have Sean Simpson, who is a attorney, but he's not your average attorney. He has a nickname of the Scrapper when he's in trial. We brought him on because we want to know what the heck is going on with people running into the stores, stealing shit, running back out, disrespecting every law, and then getting out. We want to touch on that and a few other things, so let's do it.
Well, Sean's
welcome,
here.
Sean.
I
How
was
you
just
doing, man?
sitting back listening to all these cameras and microphones.
Well, here's what's going on. As we talked earlier, we started talking because I need to know what you did, like in your life as far as being an attorney. And you brought up something about the theft. And that's probably the highest. Everyone's watching this. Everyone's seeing people go into stores, bring in their own trash bag, bring your own bag, bring your own cart, bring your own wagon, freely taking stuff on the shelves, identifying certain items they want to take, leaving with nobody stopping them, no repercussions. Maybe the cops are investigating it, but even when they catch them, what happens to them in court? They're releasing them. So what is going on, and what are the stores doing about it?
Yeah, it's retail theft is on the rise. It's been on the rise. It's as high as it's ever been. And it's funny because I'm totally against crime. I think Chicago, my hometown, sweet home Chicago. I love it, but the crime's out of control. I go back there. I'm like, God, this is not the city I grew up in.
Right.
But on the other hand, when these agro RLPMs, regional loss prevention managers, the security guards in your Target, Lowe's, Home Depot, all the stores you shop in, they use this psychological ploy. And if somebody's guilty, then you call the police and you have them arrested. That's the way to do it. They have a privilege for these shopkeepers called the shopkeepers privilege. Imagine that. And that allows these shopkeepers to hold people for so long as it takes for the police to get there if they have suspicion or reason to believe they've stolen something,
Right.
created a loss, caused a shrink problem for the store. But they don't want to call the police because the police use tape recorders and video. And you can't get a confession out of somebody as easily with psychological ploys that they use if they have police, if they're being recorded.
Right. If they know they're smart. The criminals they know when to be quiet now.
Yeah. So, but it's but there's a training manual. They're trained to almost all these. If you go online and you look up Wicklander Zulowski, it's a training firm out of West Chicago. They pretty much have the whole country reading their manuals, and their manuals teach these loss prevention guys how to think they're human lie detectors and how to use psychological tricks. Basically, it's like RPM, but not revolutions per minute. It's rationalize, project, and minimize. And otherwise, they tell you, hey, it's no big deal. I like you. I want to work with you. I was sent here to have you arrested, but you seem like a cool person, but you need to work with me. Will you work with me?
Right.
And work with me means you have to confess.
Is this a security guard doing this?
Yeah.
So don't they just have video? They can just show the guy, hey, the guy just grabbed a bunch of stuff off the shelf. Like, wouldn't that be enough?
They're supposed to. I mean, that's the right way to do it. But what they're doing is a lot of these stores don't want confrontation, so they don't want you to mess with shoplifters from the public.
Why don't they want confrontation?
Right.
I mean, that's the only way you can prevent them. If you don't confront them, they're going to walk
Stop
out like,
'em.
hey, security guard, don't confront
Frank,
them.
okay, I'll tell you. I watched a video of these guys just going into Lululemon
Yeah.
and just ripping everything off. Chased these guys.
Too close to the
And they
point.
got arrested.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't get arrested. They got fired.
Oh,
The girls,
okay. So the employees
females,
chased it, yeah.
the female employees.
Right. Okay, that's what I'm seeing too.
So they have this thing called a no confrontation.
Yeah.
No contact policy.
Right.
So
So
then I also heard, Sean, is this true that, I like that, we'll talk about that, but in addition, to take it one step, there's cities that are looking at citizens who get involved that could be the perpetrator. So if you're stealing, and I'm citizen, it's my neighborhood, it's my local Vons, oh my God, it's happening right in front of me. I always thought what I would do if I saw this. I am going to stop this guy from stealing because it's the right thing to do, citizen's arrest. Now they're saying if you, as a citizen, approach a person stealing, you could be held.
Yeah, there's
So
a lot of risk involved. I mean,
Yeah. You could be stabbed, you could be shot,
immediate-
whatever.
Right, and then down the road, what a lot of the retailers don't want their employees getting involved in that because retailers don't like workers' compensation. You get hurt, they got a work comp claim against them, or you're not making money for the store when you're out chasing somebody in the parking lot or sitting out there waiting for the police to come. They want you in ringing people up and making money.
So
Right.
everyone is setting up the criminal for success.
Right,
Just
crime
keep
pays.
doing crime and not having any accountability.
Because this didn't happen. This didn't even happen like 5 years ago, right? You never see people just going into a
No.
store, ransacking it.
That's
Like not one or two, but like 10, 20, like gangs,
Look, in-
mobs.
In California, you can steal up to $950 worth of stuff, and it's not considered a felony.
Yeah, but who? There's
Some
no
of them
counting
go
it.
on, Frank, they do. They go in the store with a calculator, and they start adding up the stuff. And they go,
Are you
"No,
serious?
it's documented.
Wow.
And then they walk out under $950. They dump the stuff
Come back.
if they didn't get caught, and come back just to do it all over again. And then if they do get caught, they just end up getting a citation.
So here it is.
and
If you got a guy who goes into Lululemon, steals $900, puts in his car, then he goes to another store, steals $900, cash $1,800. Is that a felony or is it two
Listen,
different
if I
counts?
if I was into Lululemon and I'm going to
Different
steal
thefts.
something, I'd just go in the dressing room and put on those tights and then just run out. No one's going to chase you when you're wearing a pair of skin tight Lululemon spandex,
touching
running
that.
down the
Yeah.
shopping mall.
They're
They're going to let you go.
A couple booty shorts,
Yeah.
some guy.
Exactly.
Maybe
don't
it's
see a lot of-
normal now.
And a
Decent
headband
with-
just to
Yeah,
match.
you know, see.
For $900, you're not gonna get much in a Lululemon.
Right.
So
No,
pick
exactly.
another store.
Two items.
No kidding. Get like three things, a couple jackets.
Oh, goodness. But that stuff lasts forever.
Well, I heard that Costco, the way they do prevention is their items are sold in bulk, and they strategically do that as well because you know, no one wants to steal this much toilet paper, right?
Put 500 boxes of top ramen down your trousers and see how
Three
you-
guys carrying out a pallet, just running down the street. We got the top ramen.
I
Keep
mean,
going.
why not? Instead of going with the kids, just go two guys and two forklifts. And what's going to happen next? No one's stopping these guys.
Nothing.
Just take the whole truck in there.
It's like
It's
hilarious.
unbelievable.
Yeah, but you know what? It's even, I think for a lot of people, it's frustrating when you watch it on TV. I don't know. I just get kind of pissed off.
I get
I'm like,
so pissed.
God,
I
did you
wanna
see
throw
those?
yeah.
Did you see the two guys? They were in a liquor store, and this one dude was stealing, and they started beating him with a
Yeah,
stick.
They beat the shit out.
But it was, I think that was a little overboard.
I don't.
They were frustrated.
Why would it be
They
overboard?
like guys like a pinata. They're beating the heck out of him, trying to get candy out of him. You know?
Hey, if you're going to take a chance of going in someone's business, you may be working with your daughter, you're working, you're older, and somebody starts doing stuff and you try to stop them and they fight back, anything goes. Every time you see these guys steal, then they end up pistol whipping you, they shoot you in the head, they execute you.
I'm going to tell you why it's a bad idea. Because then the next time the guys go in, they're going to go in with a gun. And they're going
go
to
in
get
with
more
guns anyway.
But they're going to get way more violent. Sean, we need to know your take.
Yeah, no, you look back at May of 2020 with George Floyd. I mean, that brought a lot of people to the streets, and created riots and stuff. And I mean, I'm anti-crime. I think crime, with realtors for everybody, your home, your garage. I mean, it's nice to be able to go in your garage and find your bicycles and your power tools when you want them,
Right.
and not go, where's my bike?
Exactly.
Why is my chain in here? My lock's here. My bike's gone. I was like, so I'm anti-crime, but
But what do you do to stop it? Because it sounds radical. I mean, I think everyone should be able to protect themselves. And here's my whole point. Cops will never rescue you. They usually don't even come unless someone's murdered, right? It's just a report taken. When they catch the perp, he's gone. He's on the OR, released on his own recognizance. He doesn't do any time. He's out within an hour. Non-violent crime, just let him back out. These guys typically steal if you profile them, and there is profiling, even though you're not supposed to. Well, now you catch the guy, you found out, okay, he's on drugs.
You mean like a guy walking with a shopping basket and unloading stuff? in
Right,
the thing?
you got a ski mask,
Yeah.
you got a shopping basket,
Yeah.
you got 20 guys with you.
Yeah.
You're dressed all in black.
Yeah.
But we don't want to profile you. Okay, and it's like 90 degrees out with a ski mask on, but hey, we don't want to profile you. I mean, what the hell, right?
he's on his way to Big Bear.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I was taking.
Going skiing.
That's what they should do. Just carry around some skis and you'll never get caught. But anyway, it gets to a point, and then you see these violent crimes, man. These guys aren't. If they're just going there and stealing,
Yeah.
fine. But when you try and stop someone, you got to tell yourself, hey, this may be life and death. If I'm going to approach somebody, I don't know if they're going to be subdued. I don't know if they're on drugs. I don't know if they have a weapon, a knife, brass knuckles.
Yes to all of them.
Right. So
there.
what do? You just keep getting attacked? Like, where is the law
I can tell you
enforcement?
what to do. You got to be able to regulate who comes in this store because they do that. Because I tried to go into the Hermes store to buy my wife a bracelet.
And they laughed at you?
They didn't let me in.
For $9,000.
They were looking at me and they profiled me. And I wasn't dressed that well. And I try to get in the door and there's a guy there and he's like,
What do you want?
he's like, no. Like, no what? Open the door.
Right.
You have an appointment? I go, what? I'm in a shopping mall. Let me
Right.
in the store. It's like, no.
Okay,
you need an appointment.
So that's the problem. You can't do that because it profiles people. You don't want to profile people. I'm talking about the people who are actually, you're watching them steal. The act is being committed right now.
Yeah.
You don't profile. You say, do whatever you want.
Yeah, they're blatant.
Even when they're blatant. They're not even slick. It's not even shoplifting. It's more like go in there, you take that side, I'll take that side, dump, and run. The security guys can't chase you anymore. The shop owners can't do anything. There's no cops around. Where does it end?
I'll tell you, in some countries you get this. The guy's walking around like this.
Yeah.
Oh, he must be a shoplifter.
And you only got caught once because you got caught twice here.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. I can't clap anymore.
Yeah. Where do you go? Like, and then those people are part of a organized crime, and then they give them all they give them everything.
Yep.
Thank you. We
Yep.
sell them however we sell them,
Yep.
distribute them all over, and they're getting paid.
Nah.
So it's their job. So their job is to go in, get organized, and it's probably exciting, adrenaline rush and fun. There probably a lot of them are just wouldn't do this because it seems like the people who are stealing are just like kids. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying shoot kids.
Yeah.
I'm talking about that violent one where the guy comes in and he like tries to hit you over the head with a hammer, and then what do?
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer.
And they will.
So what do? Do you defend the stores, or what's your involvement as an attorney?
The cases that I fell into, just coincidentally, I had a client who'd been in a horrible truck crash, and after being 6 months in a coma and getting better, he called me, a couple years after, a year or two later, and he comes by and said, "Hey, I need to talk to you." And I said, "Okay." He said, "But I have to close your door." I said, "Okay, close the door." He said, "No, you have to promise me that you'll believe me." And I said, "Well, Keen, why wouldn't I believe you?" He goes, "I'm going to tell you something that's going to be hard to believe, but you have to promise me you believe me because I'm going to tell you the truth." I was kind of like, yeah. He said, I got fired at work because I confessed to something that I didn't do. I said, "Well, wait, who confessed to something they didn't do? I mean, it's hard enough to confess to something you did do.
Yeah.
Why the hell would you confess to something you didn't
Right.
do?" But then he explained what they do. They take you in the back corner and they basically give you two options, confess and we'll work with you and you keep your job and you'll see your kids tonight, and don't confess and you might not see your kids tonight. And I know where I'm sleeping tonight. Do you want to know where you're sleeping tonight?
So they suspected he did something, and
Yeah.
he rolled just
Well,
so.
a lot of times they'll pick somebody that they think is suspicious, or you'll have a store manager that's threatened by an underling who's working their way up. And store manager figures rather than work harder, I'll just call loss prevention and tell them I suspect this guy's been stealing stuff. And then I'll put together, they don't really, they bring what's called a bulging file. They teach you in the manuals, the bulging file. Like, we did our research, we got you. And it's just blank paper or yesterday's newspaper, But they wave that around, and Joaquin, my client, said, "Oh, let me look at the video you say you have of me, because it wasn't me, but I'll help you figure out who it was." "Oh, no, we know it's you. There's nothing on that video. The video's a prop. It's all about props, and it's just a big bait and
So
switch."
that's horrible.
So these security guys, a lot of them are scamming, huh?
Well, they're trained. They say that they rationalize it, they minimize it. They say, here at Lowe's, we don't mind guys that just have a little problem with rent. We understand that, and it's no big deal. It's the guys that pull up their truck and load up $10,000 worth of equipment. That's who we have to take care of. But we want to work with you because you seem like a good employee, and all we need you to do is come clean and confess. And
So they go, okay, so those loss prevention are focused on the employee theft.
Well, and a lot of it drives, and answer one of your questions before, a lot of the reasons you don't want to mess with the thugs is because the thugs don't have money in their pocket, and you don't have a paycheck you're going to pay them.
Right.
Whereas if you get an employee and they confess and agree to repay it, then you can take it out of their last paycheck when you fire them, which is exactly what you told them you wouldn't do. You said, if you want, we want to work with you.
So they fire him anyways.
Yeah, it's a bait and switch. It's just a plain fraud. I mean, it's false imprisonment. They falsely imprison you because they're not supposed to hold you there for longer than it takes to get the cops to come. But they don't want to do that from the very start. Always have a witness for yourself. Never let the victim have a witness. And then
Got it.
don't ever make sure the first two questions you get asked are, do you understand it's a violation of Lowe's, Michael's Superstore, Home Depot's policy to record this interview? You have to sign yes. Are you recording this interview? You have to put no. If you don't answer those questions right, yes, I understand the policy, and no, I'm not recording, then the interview's over. Because they don't ever want anybody to record this stuff because it's just nasty. It's just it's inhumane to take your own employee. But then, like I said, employees have a paycheck coming.
Right.
And you can get that money back. It's all about money. And
So would it be better just to say, it seems like I'm being accused of something, I want an attorney with me? Or
people try that.
does it work?
No, because you want to keep your job. A lot of people are living paycheck to paycheck. They say that most people are like,
They coerce them, and they're not educated. They don't know. They don't even know the criminal justice system. They don't know what to say. So they go, "Hey, whatever it takes to keep my job." Okay, fine.
Well, they're going to know now.
What's that?
They're going to know now because we're going to let them know. We're going
Right,
to put this out
exactly.
and let the employees know about this
Yeah.
because, it's not cool.
super not cool.
yeah, you're surprised how it's going on in all the stores, all the box stores, big box, small box.
Wow.
They're all doing it. They're all trained out of the same place I told you, Wicklander Zalowski out of Chicago.
Wait. You say that name so fast.
He said it. We said it was last
Some Polish name.
Yeah.
What is it? Whiplash the launch.
Whip your ass and slaughter.
Yeah.
Doug Wicklander and David Zulowski.
David Zalowski.
Yeah, two.
Can you get him on audio? I hate to read.
But I got to tell you something. It must work to some degree. They probably need to do it because I'm sure that there are a bunch of employees that are ripping stuff off.
Yeah,
So-
most what they call shrinkage, stealing, is employee theft. It's not
or coming out of the swimming pool.
because the employees are the ones that.
That's shrinkage. like Costanza. It's the shrinkage.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. They do what it's called sliding and skimming, where it's like your friends come in and have a bunch of stuff, and you just slide it across the scanner, and that's why you always see a camera right above every check register.
Yeah, but how are they supposed to watch really every check register? Like
can't.
who's watching that?
Yeah, it's impossible.
There's no way.
It's just, and then there's I've seen guys in stores run. They start sprinting, and most of the security guards aren't sprinters.
Right.
And you can't shoot them. They taser.
No.
pepper
Once
spray.
they run, they're gone. I mean,
But even if they do-
if they're running away, that's good. They're separating distance. Like in police work, you want the separation.
Yeah.
You don't chase them. Because first of all, you're going to chase them down. You're not going to be protected. They could be, and everyone else thinks it's the one guy, one perpetrator. Often they have a getaway car. They have friends. I mean, if they're smart, they're going to have people checking them, causing interference on the guy chasing them. So you don't chase them. But when they're in the stores, when you get them.
But even if they do get caught, the point I was making, that if it's under $950 in California, nothing happens. I don't even think the police will come.
But what is it? Because when you go into a building with the intent to steal, it goes from shoplifting to burglary, right? So
Yeah, that's in a criminal system. Yeah,
well, that's what I learned, is that entering a place with no money and stealing is a good.
But I think it's with the intent to commit a felony, or just
Well, burglary is a felony.
No. And you said entering a place with the
No,
intent. If you're stealing and it's under $950, it's not a felony.
No, but if you're going in there and it's under $950, but you went in there they can prove intent that you're going into a building to take something out. It goes from a misdemeanor. It goes from shoplifting to burglary. That's the definition of burglary.
It's a little bit unorthodox burglary because normally burglary
let's
you have
whip
to
out the
break
penal
in
code right
someplace,
now. I'll
but
show you.
you
Look
can-
under-
I think it's with
What,
the intent.
459?
Is it
What's burglary?
459.
459 PC.
Yeah.
It'll tell you that entering a building with the intent to steal.
Mark, can you help us with that research right there?
It's the truth. It's
Just
not-
look it up. Look it up. What is the definition of burglary in California?
Yeah,
because it might change in other states.
I mean, I'm reading. This is from a long time ago, but
I don't know if it's a misdemeanor and a felony or a felony. That's what I'm saying. Whatever.
It's a wobbler. Okay, because if they can't prove the burglary,
They're
it's
not
called a
going to
wobbler.
arrest somebody
Yeah.
for burglary.
Why?
If they
If-
come into the store. All right. Let's
Okay,
see.
read it. Let's see if Frank.
Under California Penal Code Section 459, a burglar is the act of entering a structure, resident, commercial, or any other type of property with the intent to commit grand larceny, petty larceny, or another felony. So petty larceny is
Petty theft under
Petty theft.
950. So what does
Frank
that
is
say?
right.
That's right, baby. Don't
Frank
tell
is
me.
always
Then you're
right.
still locking with a felony. Then.
We should just
Yeah, but
Yeah.
So in the court system, it's called a wobbler. Like, whoa. So hey, we got you for a 459. We got you for a burglary. But if you admit that you're shoplifting, we'll reduce it to a misdemeanor, which is theft.
Right.
Yeah, but that's if they're arrested. Well, then everybody who enters they have to prove intent.
Well, those guys, okay, if you got 10 people running into a store and taking all the shit off the shelves, and running, what more intent you want? Like a smoke signal? Signs?
No money in your possession.
Yeah,
no
no
credit
money.
card.
You're wearing like sweats.
Yeah.
You're wearing your Lululemon outfit, black. that you
Exactly.
just
I was going
stole
to find a
to
nice,
run
generous
away.
customer or co-customer
Yeah.
who's going to buy it for me.
Yeah, that's a good defense. I like the way you think.
I'm a very friendly person. And
Yeah.
customers always help me out with a little extra.
Yeah, that lady over there has my money.
So do you ever do cases of truck crashes?
Yeah, that's one of the niche areas I fell into also because I grew up on a farm and I just like crawling underneath things and getting greasy and.
So
usually-
what's the worst?
How about what's the difference between
I want to know.
the worst crash?
Yeah, describe a crash, like one that you had to work on. Like what happened?
People die.
Truck drivers fall asleep. They get tired. They go past the hours in service limits of 14 hours per 24 hours. There's 3 or 4 different ways to analyze it, but basically you're not supposed to drive for an extended period of time. Or they try to trick the system and have a team system, and the team guy's tired. But you log in, but you're really back in the sleeper sleeping. There's tricks that they
gotcha.
play. They used to, in the old days with handwritten logs, they'd fudge those things more easily. But now it's all Qualcomm, it's digitized, and it's almost every fleet.
And they got trackers on all the trucks.
Yeah.
Well,
What about the good old days when they do a big line of coke and just keep going? They
Yeah.
still doing that?
Well, that's a lot of the problem is because a lot of these truck drivers, they're doing some
Yeah, they
kind
wanna
of
get paid.
painkiller, Vicodin or something for their lower back.
All
But
right.
they got the bucket, the gallon jar of gallon cup of refillable coffee cups. They're throwing caffeine in and Red Bull,
Right.
and sometimes the white powder. I've seen cases where that I wasn't me, but one of my fellow lawyers was taking a deposition once, and the other truck drivers had a tooth fly out of his mouth while he's talking.
Oh, God.
He's got the pock marks in his skin. And
Yeah,
stuff.
little
Like-
drugs. Your teeth always fall out when you do too much crack.
I
So
said,
true.
what everybody do? I said, what did everybody do? He said, we just all kind of sat there and looked at each other like, what do you do? There's a tooth on the table now. And the guys kind of reached out, took it back, put it up. Like,
Yeah, because he's got to go back home and put it under a pillow. Get $10
I
out
got
of it.
5 teeth, 2 in my mouth, 3 in my pocket.
just another tooth.
It's just a tooth, no big deal. I'm like, dude, your
Exactly.
tooth just flew out. What's wrong with you?
He can replace it with
Stick
a,
out. Like those fake buck teeth. Okay, so
You
continue.
know why? You do know why they invented the toothbrush in Kentucky.
No, why?
Because if they invented any other state, they call it a teeth brush. About that one tooth until you get
so
down to being a
mean.
gummer, until you get down to being a gummer.
See those
As
guys.
long as you got one tooth, you don't need to see a dentist yet.
That's all they need. They can bite a possum in half.
Yeah.
Like a
Hard to
fang.
eat corn that way with one tooth. Takes about 3 hours to eat one kernel.
But before I get killed or threatened by people from Kentucky, my legal residence right now is Kentucky, and my
Okay.
favorite place to live is
Right.
on the
Yeah.
farm in
Yeah.
Kentucky.
Hey, we love Kentucky.
Nothing against Kentucky.
Yeah, we don't care. Yeah, is there a lot of dentists there?
Exactly.
You go out of business quick.
Like here, there's a bunch of attorneys in California. There's a bunch of dentists.
Yeah.
Like get your teeth fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. You take drugs and your
Yeah.
teeth start falling out. Maybe you should go see somebody. Like, fuck, I think I'm addicted. My
They
molar
can't-
just popped
But
out.
that's a bummer. They can't stop. That's
Can't
why
stop,
you got
I know.
homeless people.
I know.
They just can't
Right,
not
and then you got the
stop.
people stealing. But this whole theft thing, it interests me because it's not the people who are. It doesn't seem that the people who are stealing are hungry and they don't have money. It seems like super organized kids, like teenagers that are fast that you can't catch anywhere. They're jumping over aisles. You ever see how fast they move?
You can't catch
You
them.
can't
no
catch
way.
them.
They're like
It's like-
gazelle.
Okay, so one guy kind of sized him up and got, this guy's 20 years old and strong. I'm not even going to try. These are big dudes. So it seems like a very organized, orchestrated event where they just keep going.
You need a net.
You need a net. You need something. Or
They
foam.
should have a big net that just drops in the store and captures them, like on National Geographic when
think-
they catch those birds.
How about ball bearings? Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, like
You can't
Home
catch
Alone.
them. Just
Home
have
Alone.
a big barrel of ball bearings and roll them out.
Bunch of
Just have
marbles.
some fun.
Yeah.
Get get the olive oil on aisle 3 and
They
just oil the floors right when they on the way out. They just eat shit.
Set them up with a giant, like a string and an anvil that hits him in the head like
There
a
has to be,
cartoon.
yeah, it has to be something. Like the banks get to blow up money, so the guy turns blue. That's kind of cool.
Oh,
They
yeah.
get They should have something like
Yeah,
that.
a
with this-
pair of Lululemon spandex that blows up when they put them on. Their balls are purple for the next 6 months.
That's where the term blue balls come from.
Exactly.
No, they really are blue.
Do you want to see?
What the hell?
They've been blue for 6
That's a
months.
sore
Shit
subject
doesn't wear
right
I'm a
off.
Smurf.
Like when you put your chemical in your pool, so when guy thinks you sneak a little pee in the corner, it turns bright blue or something. Hey, look who's peeing.
Yeah,
Okay,
you look-
I want to talk about something that's really interesting. Well, I thought it was interesting because I did some research on it because I know you work with this, is selling horse sperm.
Oh my God!
Because-
wait a second, you just went from 18-wheelers, which you didn't even talk about. We just
That's a perfect, Frank, listen, that's a perfect segue because
who wants to talk about? I don't want to talk about horse
Listen,
sperm.
don't you see the segue between semi-trucks and horse
Oh,
sperm?
semi.
No,
semen?
there's
I
no,
don't know.
there's no nothing. There's no segue. I just thought that'd be interesting.
No,
I know
because you know that you're also a horse guy,
Right.
equestrian, and we heard that you deal and sell. I don't know how you're involved in this, but you sell horses, right?
I don't personally, but my brother, my family does.
Okay.
My wife and my brother are big in the business, and
who-
two of my 3 daughters.
Who sells a horse sperm? Is that you?
You'd be surprised that they're actually, when you get a really good stallion,
Yeah, I'm not surprised it's bucks.
people want to buy canisters. And then also, my brother's had some horse sales where you'll sell a stallion, but then you have in the contract that you get 3 free mounts, they call it, or 3 free canisters, or a combination of how many canisters and how many mounts. And
but I think it's big money from what I saw.
yeah. And then
Can you go
there's-
online and buy a canister of horse sperm? I mean, how's it work?
You know,
Like,
if you
who
poke
buys it?
around, you probably wouldn't just be selling it like that, but you'd probably find a trainer who would have it. Like I know my brother, I think, still has 1 or 2. I think there's a special way you have to treat them, freeze them. You can't just put them in a freezer.
Yeah, the
normally.
Creo, whatever it's called, and then they just.
Yeah,
I
so-
heard that Europe, in fact, the Czech Republic is known for really good horses and doing that. Do you ever deal with that country?
Yeah, a lot of the big, people in the United States, often where you go to buy horses, you're going to, Belgium, sometimes France, Czechoslovakia, but a lot of those horses over there are Belgian bred.
Yeah. Those
warm
beautiful
bloods.
Belgian horses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Dutch.
So your wife and your family is involved, and then is it lucrative though? To make
Some days are better than others. It
Right.
depends on, my brother.
Depends how the horse feels.
Depends on how stubborn that horse is going to
yeah,
be.
he's like, oh man,
yeah, you got to throw a Viagra.
I need the big load, bro.
Throw a Viagra in his mouth.
I need some money.
I guess I've never seen it, but I guess they use machines to do that. It's like an automated thing. Poor horse.
No,
would
I
think-
saw it on Yellowstone.
I think there'd be some volunteers that would do that. Some kinky people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also Yellowstone. Oh, that movie.
Yeah, they
Oh, yeah,
they
that
did
does-
that on Yellowstone, and
Yeah.
they
So
they
weird.
sell it. But from what I saw, it's multi-million-dollar, almost
Yeah.
$1 billion industry.
Well, you have those,
Yeah,
like
like
the
if you get-
Kentucky Derby, have those guys.
Right,
I
the
those
stud horses.
The stud horses, they're only like 2 years old, right? The good ones.
Oh, you're usually not studding when you're 2. Usually older,
4?
3, 4, 5. They're starting to race when they're 2 and 3, which is
Right.
a lot of people argue too young to
Right.
be racing it. But that's when they want to get them out there and run them.
Right.
But yeah, you can like with Secretariat, if you had canisters of his
Yeah.
semen stored up now, they'd be worth a lot of money. I mean,
Yeah,
What's a lot of money?
millions.
I don't know.
Nah.
What's a jar?
I think
Container?
they can be priced differently. Sometimes you play a flat rate per canister. Sometimes you pay for 3 mounts and whether or not you get pregnant. But then there's an additional. If you say, okay, I want your stallion to mount my mare until she's pregnant.
Oh, I
then,
gotcha.
then
Oh, so they actually bring the horses together.
sometimes not the canisters. The canisters are done by a veterinarian. A veterinarian will put that in.
Yeah, artificial insemination
Right.
on the horse.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think millions. I've never heard it that much. But you start paying 100,000, $250,000, and if she takes,
Wow.
if she gets pregnant, then it can be a kicker. And then people put in the deals like prize money. You get a share. You're a half owner.
Oh, so
You're
big
25%. Contingency, and
Got it.
the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
So it's
Does it really work? I mean, I'm thinking like you got a thoroughbred with a really good DNA, or is that just this horse runs really well, but his offspring may be lame?
Yeah, and
Right.
the greatest
Hit and
horse in the
miss.
world can go
Right.
lame any
Right.
stride.
Right.
So it's.
But
it's
the
a very-
chances are probably better that you're going to get a.
Right. It's like they're bred to run.
But horse racing is kind of, I think it's kind of cruel because a lot of them, like here in San Diego at the racetrack, Del Mar, they'll run so hard they break their legs, and then there's no therapy for that. They just
Yeah.
kill them.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not into it.
Oh.
I know you love. I love horses, but I don't dig the racing part. I think it's just
Little
not
cruel.
for me. It's probably because I've been to a lot of horse races. 2 of them, the horse broke the leg and they just euthanized it right there. And I didn't know that's the procedure. I think they just bandaged him up, or whatever, and they get this truck that goes out there and they put a big sheet.
You've seen it?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then they put a big thing around it, like a crime scene that the audience can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just see the truck going away. And it's a low truck, you don't see a horse standing up.
Right.
And he's done. Like, I don't know if I think they euthanize him right there.
Yeah. If you're in the turf club, it's a good time to go get a mint julep or something.
Right, exactly.
It kind of puts
So
a
you're-
somber
so
moment
you're-
in your day.
Right, so
God.
you're paying to see these horses run. They're probably being injected last second with whatever. They're being whipped. Maybe they like it, the horses. I don't know if they like it or not, but it just seems like it kind of, I don't know.
Sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
What about dog races?
I mean, when they don't break their legs, it's not sad, but when they do break their legs, they're dead. You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
it's like, wow.
Ah.
It's a high risk.
Can you imagine if
Yeah.
they had that in the NBA or the NFL?
Right, exactly.
Like
yeah.
the guy gets an injury. Out on the
ACL
tarp,
goes out.
tarp goes
Sorry,
around
body
him.
bag.
Sorry, we're taking this guy out. Why? Achilles can't play anymore.
Let's go to halftime. Continue the show. Got a great band.
Broken toe, got to go.
Exactly.
Done.
Yeah, some of those guys are out, but that's just, I don't like when
But
you
they
kill
have-
such a beautiful animal.
But they have dog races. You ever seen that?
Yeah, the greyhounds.
Oh man, those
They-
things.
but
They chase a rabbit.
Yeah, but a dog can break its leg and you don't have to kill it because a horse can't stand up on 3 legs. Doesn't that?
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, that's why. So the horse can no longer stand up. It needs all 4 legs. A dog breaks a leg.
But you would think they could fix it.
I've heard in Florida
Well,
they used to do a lot of greyhound. I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard the greyhounds have been or are getting shut down too. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's
Well,
regulations.
it's like, listen, it all started
cruel
with
treatment to animals.
with PETA, right? Because the whatever
People for against the ethical treatment of animals.
right? So these guys, and what I like about them, I mean, they could go a little bit too far, like everyone, but they started with circuses, and they go like, "Hey, what the hell? A bear riding a bike?
Exactly.
How the shit did you get this bear to ride a bike? Well, first you got to starve him, then you got to beat him, and then you got to make take him down to psychological, where it's just so bike. Okay, give me a freaking biscuit." And then the tigers are whipping, and then finally, like the tigers in Vegas, eventually they just bite the guy's head off,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
That guy Gunther.
Yeah, they're dead now. Those
Siegfried
guys.
and Roy.
Are they?
Siegfried and Roy.
Yeah, Siegfried
I
and
think they
Roy,
both died, but he was just playing with it. Like
Yeah.
he drug it
ripped
off
out
stage.
my jugular vein.
Can you imagine if you're, because I was always wondering,
Gently
like,
dragged
I
by the
almost,
mouth of a tiger
I-
off stage.
I got invited to go on that show way back, and I'm like thinking like, who cares? There's a bunch of tigers jumping on this. But imagine the guy who was like me, who's going to think it's going to be boring. You're sitting there and you're watching the show. I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah.
Bit him in the throat and drug him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm coming back tomorrow. Tomorrow's
I used to think it was strange. We grew up in San Diego at SeaWorld, and what they would do at SeaWorld is they would take somebody from the audience,
Oh, yeah.
and they would hold them and reach him over the swimming pool that Shamu was in, and then Shamu would stick out its tongue and hit the person in the side of the face,
Like a
like
kiss.
kissing them.
Yeah.
And I was like going, okay,
Just a matter of time.
and we'd go to SeaWorld all the time. We
Yeah.
had passes. This person's not
I
going to do well.
remember that. There was one
Yeah, they
girl
don't do that anymore. I think now they go by and just there's a splash zone where Shamu comes by and whips.
Yeah,
her tail.
No, you know what? That's okay.
That was the old
I'm
days.
totally against the Shamu show. Let that friggin' whale go.
Right.
Holy shit! You got this huge creature in an aquarium,
Still.
and there's just walls.
Yeah, can't
And
do
this
it.
thing is smart, and
Yeah.
it's just doing circles, and then you see that dorsal fin just go over, It's like a guy that needs Viagra.
Right.
It's just not hard anymore. He's done.
Yeah.
And for what? To show that it can jump up and like a dolphin and do something. It's like, let the things go. I guarantee if you I can't guarantee anything, but it seems like if you let a shamu go in the ocean, they're going to figure out how to eat. Like, we had him here this whole life. He got DNA, bro. He got instincts. He's going to go eat a seal. Let it go. I don't like that show. But I was going to say something else, but I forgot. One of them was, what were we talking about the animal before?
A kiwi?
No, kiwi.
I don't know.
I thought from horses to
Greyhounds.
horses to greyhounds to
Oh, PETA.
whales.
Oh,
Yeah,
dancing. No, you were talking
The
about
bear.
how much you admire Tiger King and you wish you were sharing a cell with him. No, I'm just kidding.
Mark, how often do I tell you not to project your fantasies on your brother? Okay?
Every day?
Yeah.
Don't do it.
When he says,
Don't
that's what's
do
on his
it.
heart.
No, you're talking about tigers.
I was
and-
talking about the circus.
Yeah, and the tiger that ate the guy in the
Yeah,
head.
so-
Because I thought about Tiger King because the guy had him running around everywhere.
Yeah, eventually a tiger will, tigers are cool one-on-one. That's from what I've learned about them. Lions, you can have a whole bunch and they're mellow. They could be with the family, but tigers are just for one person. And your family is going to get eaten if it comes. Like, they're a totally different breed. But when you have all these animals in a show and you're making them do tricks that they don't want to do, and they're put in a cage afterwards with a bunch of carnies, who knows what's going on back there. It's just like, why would you go to that show? Like, there should be other shit you can see besides torturing an animal to do tricks. Who cares? Why do you want to see a bear ride a bike? It's
but you see
so
the little
degrading.
kids, the three-headed man and stuff that when you go to the carnival.
Well,
and
the
they're-
three-headed man's cool because, he's a job with a bearded woman.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Now you can
No,
identify. Yeah, it doesn't matter. 'Cause
We could go. There's so many ways to segue off of that, but
Yeah.
we just can't right now. But
yeah,
Do you remember going to carnivals as a little kid and thinking like how cool the music, the lights, the
Yeah.
the energy, and you go as an adult and kind of like, oh my God,
it's
it's grungy,
horrible.
man.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Everybody here's got hickeys on them. They're
Ex-
sleeping in those campers right over
Right,
there at night,
yeah.
and it's like who's got
the crew.
the squeaky, little roller coaster is squeaking and creaking. You're thinking, man, how many more
did-
laps before that thing comes off the track?
No kidding.
so Sean, do
Who
you
set it up?
Who set it up? Like, I always look at those things. I don't care what it looks like.
Oh, I
I'm not
forgot
gonna
that
go
one little
right.
cotter pin.
Yeah.
Shoot, I forgot that.
do you think
Oh,
that
shit happens.
like I know we always make circles. Do you think there would become a time? Because we're going to go back when there will be some legislation passed that's no longer going to allow these security officers to take people into a room like that
Yes, he's pretty shady, man.
and coerce them? Or
Yeah,
how do
most states have a shopkeeper's privilege, which is for their benefit to protect the security guards from being arrested if they have reason to believe that somebody's been stealing something and has stolen or is in the process of stealing, either one. But they don't want to, they want to take advantage of the benefits of it, but they don't want to comply with the burden of it of calling the police right away.
Okay, so the point you're making is that some employee gets pulled into an office by these security guys who are trained by that manual written by that Polish guy, and they say, we don't want the cops here because we want him to pay back what he stole.
Yeah, we need a confession.
So we got the confession. The guy works for like 2 more weeks. Once it's paid back, they go, "You're fired." Or
No,
how does that work?
usually you get fired
Right there?
Right there. They,
So how do
they
you pay
pretend
back?
like they need to call HR, but then you take the depositions of the HR people. Has anyone ever confessed to a theft, whether it's a 49-cent moon pie or a candy bar? Among regional loss prevention managers, I've actually become friends with some who defect. They can't do it anymore. They finally, and they say there's an inside joke among RLPMs. They're like, "Oh my God, you couldn't even get them for a candy bar, you loser!"
Yeah.
Because you got to at least get it. You come on,
Right.
you stole a candy bar, didn't you?
Right.
So it's like you can't get them for the $400 alternator that you think they stole.
Right.
You got to. Well, how about a candy bar,
Yeah,
a Coke?
yeah, right.
and
Did you ever
almost
use
everybody's-
a pen and kept it, to write with?
Accidentally at the bank. You take
So
it-
even a candy bar and get him fired?
yeah, then
anything.
you take the deposition of their human resources and say, "Have you ever seen anybody?" And then do you have an appeal system? Yes, we do. Have people appealed? Yes, they have. Anybody ever won their appeal? No. And your zero tolerance policy, is it really zero tolerance, like a nickel or penny or yeah? Any dishonesty is immediate termination. So basically, the only companies that, if you're following that manual and you actually have a progressive discipline,
Right.
and there's some truth to saying we'll work with you, we'll make you a better employee, and you keep them, then it's okay.
Right.
But it's that when you know you have zero tolerance, and you know you don't have progressive discipline, you know they're going to get fired. You're basically lying to them. Say exactly what you say you're not going to do. Like, hey, work with me, and I'll help you keep your job. No, work with me, you're going to get fired.
Right.
You're
Right.
signing a confession. Then we got a confession to hand the police. Say, hey, police, look, we got a written confession for you.
Okay, so when this
Okay.
guy called you, let's wrap around. Then I want to talk about that because you asked him a question about 18-wheelers and what it's like to crash. We
Right.
never talked about that because then we
We'll
went
get
into
there.
like horse sperm or whatever. Like we're digressing all over the place, which is fine. Which I just forgot what I was going to say. God.
We want to go back to the 18-wheelers.
No, not the 18-wheelers, but is there something that employees should be aware of if this happens to them? Because obviously your friend didn't do it.
No,
So
yes.
what? So this guy calls you an attorney, or you just happen to be talking to him. Like, what do you do when you're accused of something you didn't do, and they're just convinced that you did it? No matter what, you're going to get terminated
Yeah.
because it's their word against yours. Like, sorry. Do the employees have rights, and can employees sue, or how does that work?
Well,
Is
that's
it
I've
difficult.
represented people around the country for claims for false imprisonment and/or fraud, depending on how their scenario played out. They're almost always those two pretty much go hand in hand because they use a fraud. They falsely imprison you and hold you there instead of calling the police.
So for the viewers, when people hear false imprisonment, that doesn't mean they're in prison. What is the definition of false imprisonment?
In most states, the key is it's in the mind of the victim, the suspect, and do you feel free to leave? Like right here,
Right.
if you
Yeah,
guys
if we
were
had you,
interrogating me,
what'd you steal, man?
Yeah, and if my paycheck was on the line, it's called the power of the paycheck. That people don't want to lose their job.
Right.
Part of the facts that got us a big verdict, and my client Joaquin, one of the first cases I tried back in 1999 or 2000, was because his mom came over and she had to go pawn her jewelry because he had duct tape newspapers around his kids for diapers because he had no money. I mean, in the retail world, most retail employees are one paycheck away from being homeless, basically. Living on they have to go couch surfing if they got friends, or they're on the street with a shopping cart if they don't have any friends. Because like John Morgan, the biggest law firm in the country, says that most people don't have $400 saved for an emergency.
Right.
So if you lose your job, and that's what happened to him, and then when you lose your job, and when they call for a reference, what kind of reference do you think they're going to get? Like, oh yeah, that guy steals. He signed a confession that he stole. Things like that, and they're only supposed to say what a referral when somebody calls your employer is only supposed to say, yes, he worked here from this period of time, and the time of separation his position was assistant manager, and that's pretty much it.
So if you take that case and you go, hey, I'm representing this guy, how much discovery do they have to give you if you request for the tapes that they say they have? Do they have to give them to you, or they can just say
Yeah, that they
have to.
don't. They typically don't have tapes.
They typically don't. So when you ask for tapes and they don't have them, and this guy was told you're caught video, you're on a video. How do you handle that?
Yeah, the video is just a prop. And the first case I had, I said, this is interesting. I'm having a hard time believing this. So I went to the EDD, the unemployment benefits hearing with Joaquin, and I could tell from the minute these two guys walked in the room, I said, oh my God, these are badass dudes. Sure enough, through discovery, I learned that one of them had wanted to be on the Chula Vista Police Department, but he was too much of a thug. So they said, you need to go get a job somewhere else for a while and prove that you can be around tense situations without blowing your top, and then we might consider hiring you at Chula Vista Police Department. So that's who a lot of your loss prevention people are wannabe cops or ex-military that want to just be big, steroid muscles, and I'm going to rip your head off if you don't confess kind of thing. There are some that are normal guys, but generally speaking, they're and then they teach them about how to read body language. If they cross their leg this way, or if they look their eyes up to the right corner,
Yeah,
then
they're
guilty.
lying.
Yeah.
Right.
And I've
Left, they're in denial. Right, they're lying.
And
Straight at you, they're crazy. Like you can't do anything.
And I've hired experts who are like ex-CIA, ex-FBI that say, hey, we go through intensive training.
Right.
And you can't make a human being be a lie detector with any reliability in a little one weekend class kind of thing,
Right.
especially. These CIA guys say it's not easy to read
Right.
body language, especially if you got an experienced criminal. Because they're aware, they've studied body language too.
Yeah, they know the system.
Yeah, so it's an interesting world in the retail right now.
So did you win?
Yeah, we won that one. Went up on appeal because the first judge didn't let us have punitive damage against the employer because he didn't think the employer authorized it or ratified it. But the appellate court said we find nothing more strong in the form of ratification or authorization than a training manual that trains them how to
Right.
do it.
Yeah, no kidding.
The judge was confused and thought that each individual act needs to be, okay, do it now. But no, if you train your kid, hey, go to school. If anybody says anything mean to you, punch them in the mouth and knock their teeth out. that's authorizing your kid. You're training your kid.
Right.
You know, so you can't say, "Oh, I have nothing to do with that." And
Right.
you see some parents now getting in trouble. Thank God they're cracking down on parents for letting their kids have these guns and going to school with guns and things. And
So did the appellate court uphold your ability to collect punitive damages?
well, they sent it back for a second trial against the corporation only, and that's when the jury came back with $7.5 million against the corporation, which they laughed. They just that got reduced down like $750,000 under what I was telling you before. The courts hate punitive damages. I don't know why. I mean, I think they just the word punishment. You know, it's like spanking a baby and making a baby scream or something. And oh God, don't punish anybody.
So it was $750 at the end.
$750,000, which is a joke. And
Yeah.
So and they just keep doing it. It's basically laughed in the judges' faces. I'm hoping eventually some judge can say, you know what, we're going to let one of these verdicts stick because I'm not going to let you laugh in my face. I'm not going to reduce it and watch you walk out of here and keep doing the same thing. Because the purpose of punitive damage is to try to stop
Punish them,
behavior.
yeah. Change
So,
behavior.
Right, stop the behavior.
Spare the rod and spoil the child kind of thing.
I'm glad you're doing that.
Yeah,
That's good
it's
work.
tough, you know. And I struggle with, like I told you at the beginning. I said, you know, I'm anti-crime, so I like to make sure. I said I need evidence of innocence,
Right.
And which Joaquin had. The bank found the money. It just got put in the wrong. On the Brinks trucks, they used to have. I don't know if they even use them anymore. But they used to have two pouches, one for electronic stuff and one for cash. And you got to count both separately and zip them in there and sign off on them and sign the printout receipt tab and everything. But somebody just in a rush put them both in the same thing. And at the bank, they went through and there's no money in the. So they thought it was missing, but the next day they found it and they left a voicemail at the store saying, "Hey, we found that $473, whatever it was." And so I had proof that it was
do
so.
it.
Another case, it actually had fallen down behind the safe because somebody left it on the safe, and then something got set on top of the safe.
That happens.
And it fell down behind it. And there are times they find it, but proving innocence is hard. You know, it's like
it's the
how do you prove a
worst.
negative? How do you,
Right.
it's like
There's a whole group of people. It's called the Innocence Projects, and they get these guys who are in prison for like 10 years, 15 years, and like, hey, we just got some DNA. We're really
I
sorry.
think Kim Kardashian's doing that.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
serious.
it's true.
No,
It
she
is.
is.
Now,
I think she's going to be
Scott
an
Turow
attorney.
No, she's studying.
She's
yeah.
smart.
Oh my
Really,
God.
she's smart.
She got. That's what was really good about her. She found a person that was in prison forever, and she got her out, and it made.
Yeah.
I'm just not speaking on her behalf, but apparently she's going to be an attorney, and I think if she sets her mind to it, she'll be really good.
Wow.
You know, she's getting innocent people out of prison that have been falsely accused.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still people in there that are doing time for weed.
Yeah.
Like how do you make it legal in some states to smoke as much weed as you want? Other states you're doing 20 years. I mean, I thought we're the one country, but it seems like we have different countries within the United States. Like this guy's doing hard time for whatever, a couple kilos, and the guy in San Diego is selling them and making a profit, and he has police, off-duty officers guarding him.
Yeah, now you're seeing that the trend for state rights is kind of Roe versus Wade, and the Supreme Court's going to say, no, the state's going to decide who's having an abortion, who's not. So
Right.
I think we're going to
Yeah,
swing pendulum back to state rights now with marijuana.
It's That's why people are flocking out of California. It's like, I can't take it anymore.
Right. Well,
A lot
Ben
of
Shapiro
businesses.
just left. He packed up all his stuff. He's out.
because he's hard.
You know who else?
conservative. He
You
can't-
know who also left? Elon Musk.
That's a long time ago. He went to Austin.
Yeah, but it's because of the way they were trying to do his battery plant. I believe.
Well,
it was.
it's
Too many regulations.
Dude, it's simple. Democrats versus Republicans. If you have an R by your name, all of a sudden you're a Trumper, and no one's going to talk to you. It's like a religious thing now. It's one nuts. Like before Trump, if you say you're Republican, no one gives a shit, right? They just go like, what does that really mean? I'm a little bit more conservative. Maybe I'm hardcore. Maybe I think I'm a.
I like the elephant more than the donkey.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the elephant more than the donkey. But after Trump came, anyone with an R by their name, now it's like, it's blue no matter who. That's how they vote. It's a team. And if you have
and
an
red until I'm dead.
yeah, and if you have an R by your name, I'm not voting for you. If you have a blue
That's
by your
just
name, I'm not
crazy
voting
stuff.
for you. It has nothing to do with policies anymore. That's why the border went to shit, because Trump touched it and started making the border the big issue and building the fence. And just to be against him, I think they just go, it just became no border. Because Obama was making that border. Every other president was making that border. But when Trump came up, there's going to be a beautiful wall, great wall, beautiful. Everyone just, remember that?
Yeah.
We're going to keep going. It's going to be a great wall. And everyone just goes, oh my God,
What are you doing?
I can't take it anymore. That's when it all went to shit.
Wonder something crazy about Mexico and San Diego. So when we were younger, in the 80s, we would race motorcycles off Palm Avenue.
Oh yeah.
And there wasn't any fence. And we'd sometimes go deep down into San Diego backcountry and end up in Mexico.
Yeah, be on Revolucion
We
doing a
like
shot
don't
of
even
tequila.
we didn't
was
even know
easy.
you
Seeing a
didn't even know
donkey
you
show.
crossed the
Right,
border.
yeah, the
There was no
donkey show.
separation.
The old legendary donkey show. I don't know if that was
Circle back to the canisters of semen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How much can you get for a canister of donkey sperm?
There's nothing.
Yeah, zero.
I don't think
know.
they do that anymore.
Yeah.
I think
What?
I mean, the first I saw was they
and-
put them, and it's like a fake. They make fake zebras out of donkeys by taking black shoe polish.
No, that's
yeah.
called a
striped
donkey.
thumbs,
Yeah.
It's a donkey. It's an animal.
But then
half a zebra, half
the
donkey.
donkey show, the poor donkey's like put in a little wooden cage. It can't move, and those women are teasing the hell out of it, and it's turning its lip inside out, going like, that's like, what the hell's going
God.
on, man?
Yeah. Well,
We're
we're digressing way
all in
too
the name
much.
of entertainment.
We started.
Anyone who goes to those
We went
donkey
from
shows.
legal issues to
Yeah,
talking
donkey
about
show.
the donkey show
The
and
Tijuana
TJ.
donkey show. Everyone knows about that, but it's just like I know. I never think they were. I didn't think they actually existed, but I guess they do.
Do you guys still believe in that we should use like early days when the messenger? Who's the guy that got on a horse? It's so long ago. I can't.
Pony
remember.
Express?
Yeah, the
No,
Pony
no.
Express.
The guy that said the British are coming. Paul Revere.
Yeah, Paul Revere. It's like when you have a messenger gets on a horse to go from Boston to Chicago, and it takes
Right.
4 days or something.
Right.
I mean, that was back in the time we created these Whigs and proletariats and Democrats and stuff because people didn't know how to vote for individuals. They had to vote for a concept, and there's the proletariat concept and the Federalist concept. That's when we used Paul Revere and now we're still using Paul Revere politics. It's like we don't have an internet. I mean, we can't vote for individuals. We had to vote
Right.
for parties
Right.
still. Are you kidding me?
Right.
But nobody wants to change it because there's a bunch of money people are making a bunch of money doing
so
nothing.
much money. All these politicians, man. No wonder people get pissed. They go in there. You figure like, okay, I'm going to be a city council. You don't make shit as a city council. Even the mayor, how much could he be making? Right?
Like 200,000 a year.
It should be a volunteer
big
position.
deal.
You know, if you're successful enough to do that job,
Right.
and,
Well-
you ran a good business, you made millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Give your time back to the community.
that's
I mean,
true.
I mean, there's. I mean,
I'm a volunteer here at San Diego Association of Realtors.
it's like-
So yeah, that's actually a good concept. But my point is that you see them starting off as a city council, then they go to the mayor, then they go to
Yeah.
whatever. Now they're a senator, and now they're into the bucks. And they go, man, if I can just scam this, and how do they end up leaving with multi-million dollars? If you add up all the pay they've ever made, there's no way they're going to do it. So they do the deal. They do the
Oh,
deal.
let's find out. And I'll start
Yeah.
running
mostly
for
the
city
side shows,
council.
you know, the
I want to be
Yeah,
the president
let's
of
find
the
out.
United States.
endorsements, speaking engagements, endorsements, things like that. You know,
Book.
It's like,
They write a book.
You know, Bill Clinton can still make $150,000 for a 20-minute commencement speech. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder which person gets paid the most out of all those politicians after, probably Obama, right? If that guy, I don't know, is he still popular?
I think if he went to speak somewhere, people would pay.
Yeah. That guy was.
But he's really good at
my
public
God.
speaking.
I remember.
I saw his first speech, like when he first was on the Senate floor and he's giving the speech. I was like, "Who is that guy?
Yeah.
that guy's good."
Yeah.
I know.
I really, really liked.
Yeah, what a smooth talker, and he was cool, and he made sense.
My mom spotted him like 2 or 3 years before he even put his name in the hat for president. She said, "This guy's really good." And we're from Illinois, from Chicago.
Yeah.
She said, "This guy's a lawyer out of Chicago, and he's really good.
Yeah,
he's gonna be president
constitutional
someday."
lawyer.
And I said, "Oh yeah, Mom, I'm trying to call a president from somebody who's a state senator." You know, but
She called it.
Yeah, she did.
We should
years.
we should bring her to the horse races.
Yeah,
Let's call it.
just circle around.
Yeah, to pick that one.
For some reason, I think that Obama is. I mean, he's obviously still living in Washington D.C. You know, he's never really left. A couple blocks away from the White House, I think, and he's probably helping. He must be helping Biden.
He's gotta
Poor
help him.
Biden. I keep looking at Biden, going, God dang, that's so cruel to put that guy up on a stage. I mean, because my dad's old like that, and
Yeah.
and he's old. My father just last night he almost fell like in the living room. He's got to kind of help him. Still, my dad still has a sharp brain, but you see Biden going up on the stage, and it doesn't matter what party you're from. Just look at it like a freaking humanitarian.
Yeah.
The dude is lost. He looks at people and he's shaking this person. No, the guy's over here, and then he has a handler now that just helps.
He's
him.
older.
Leave
Frank.
the guy alone. He's 80,
They
whatever.
keep showing the picture of him tripping, going up the stairs to his airplane and stuff.
Yeah,
It's-
he's getting older. And then when you start,
Why do they have to go up those stairs, by the way? Can they have the president enter and exit a plane a little better than going up this huge flight of stairs? Can't they put an elevator?
lift, yeah.
Just get a lift.
or no, how
Why
about
does
the
he have to
tube?
go-
The tube that they walk through that they
Just-
stick to the airport.
Right.
Put a cute
No,
little chair and a forklift and
Right.
lift
Yeah.
him up
Right.
there.
Yeah. Get a cool forklift. Make it cool.
Red,
I
white, and blue.
never even thought of that.
Yeah. Why do they have to? Why do you go up the stairs like it's 1980 on a PSA flight?
I have no idea.
I mean, I get maybe they don't want to attach it because of security reasons. The guy's going through or whatever, but have a lift.
Maybe somebody will answer that question.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a response.
Because you
This
know,
is the reason
because
why.
the presidents are kind of old. You don't want to slip, even if you're in shape. There's a chance you're going to slip when you're coming down to meet. Eventually, you're going to slip. So dignitaries down there, and you're going to eat shit all the way down, or you're going to fall.
I slip.
I fall upstairs too, like Biden.
Yeah.
I never fall downstairs, but a lot of times I've been going upstairs and just fell right to my knees.
course.
Going, what the hell just happened?
Takes a lot of muscle to get upstairs. You got to be
Yeah,
strong.
yeah. I mean, hey, well, I feel sorry for the guy. You see him stepping.
They should bring a colossal stairmaster, and just like the ones in the gym, but just with like 50 steps, and he can just stand at the bottom. It'll just take him all the way
bring
up.
him an escalator.
Yeah.
Like a portable escalator just stands up
Hey,
there.
good invention.
Yeah, presidential escalator.
And
Let's
they got the
make
people
one.
movers all throughout the airport. So you have a people mover taking right up to
Right, drop the guy off.
Here,
You have to walk.
speaking about Chicago and airports, you guys got a crazy airport.
Yeah.
Man, it's a big airport.
You can spend some time walking in O'Hare.
You got to take trains and buses and all sorts of
I
stuff.
went to Chicago for the first time just last year.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I loved it, man.
You know,
I mean,
it gets
whatever,
a bad.
I guess-
Certain areas get a bad rep, but it's a pretty cool place.
Yeah, I had one guy come. I had one guy come to me. I was at a bar, and we're with. It was a meeting. It was for real estate convention, and so I had some like VIPs with me, and they go, hey, "We're going to go to this really popular bar," and I'm like, "Okay." So we're in the bar, and I went outside to have a cigar with this other guy. We had these little stogies, you know. So I go, "Okay, I got a cigar. I'm going to smoke a cigar outside," and a guy approached me, and I was wearing a black suit, and he thought I was a bouncer. And he starts going, "Hey, man, why'd you throw me out of this place the other night?" You know? Like, that's what he told me. So I go, "Because you're an asshole. You want to get thrown
Played
out
right into
again?"
it.
He goes, "No." And I'm like, "All right. You going to behave?" He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, you can go in." I did. I'm like, "Oh, let's see
you
what
own the
happens."
place.
And then 5 seconds later, I
You take a-
forget,
you
right?
take a
That's
big
what
puff right there.
Yeah, I just thought, like, who gives a shit what just happened? Then all of a sudden I see the guy go, whoa, he comes out the door. And how'd this guy get in? I'm like, dude, I don't work here. How the hell am I supposed to know?
Seemed like a nice enough guy.
But, yeah, it's like, I'm not going to get in a fight with this guy. I'm like, yeah, go in. I don't give a shit. But he thought I was a bouncer. It was funny. And then I took a picture with him because he looked so crazy. He looked like a halibut. Like his eyes were just going that way. And he had no teeth and he looked crazy.
Maybe he had one tooth.
Yeah, he had a
toothbrush.
And a toothbrush.
Yeah, toothbrush.
That's
And so I
right.
go,
He
"Hey, I'll
showed his
give you
ID
20."
was from Kentucky.
I took a selfie with him because I go, no one's going to believe the story. So I posed with him, and I'm figuring he's going to maybe cut my throat when I'm, have my. But he was cool. I gave him $20.
Yeah.
But that's how I handled it. Like in California, we don't get all hyper. Like this guy's going to come and fight me. I'm like, hey, how come you threw me out? Pff, go in. I don't
And
care.
San Diego's still a mellow place.
Yeah, we're mellow.
We don't like when
fight.
they were rioting in LA and they thought if we're gonna have riots in San Diego, they're like,
People throw a bottle, nothing happens. They burn a car, and it was like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Let's go eat. Like
We're not gonna have-
We don't want to fight.
We did have one big riot in La Mesa.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Must have
yeah,
been an
because the people.
Oktoberfest.
What actually
Yeah,
happened was
Oktoberfest.
Famous
they
Oktoberfest
wanted
in Mesa.
to. They were going to riot in San Diego. These Antifa people. They were going to do a protest, but they found some La Mesa police officer harassing some dude at a trolley stop. So they go, "Hey, let's go to La Mesa." And La Mesa has like 30 people in their police department. And all, the whole place got overrun. They burnt down a bank.
Right.
And a
Yeah,
bunch
they-
of stuff. They're
yeah.
like, what the hell? Like those people in La Mesa, they're eating their breakfast going, what the hell's going on here? Like a small town.
But the cops should have known, like we're at a point where, it's called cultural diversity, which means people of different cultures handle different things. Like Italians will use their hands and argue, and other people will get in your face, but they're not going to throw blows. That's just how they speak, and they're passionate. Like, and all you got to do is like talk to them and let them. I know the cops get nervous because when you come close to a cop, they get paranoid. But there are some cultures that come close to you and they just want to emotionally express themselves. But you got to be taught that. You got to be taught like, okay, chances are 9 out of 10, this guy's not going to try and pop me. You know, you got to just take that chance. And if he does, freaking be ready for it. You know, they got too many lame cops that are not martial artists. That's the problem.
I can tell
they
you
get
why.
Scared.
No, because they're overworked, they're understaffed, and they don't have enough time to train. So like 20%, I think, of a police officer's work week should be for that training.
Yeah.
Cultural diversity training, de-escalation training, hand-to-hand combat training. But you can't if you're just working 50, 60 hours a week.
First thing you got to do would here's what my plan would be. Everybody that wants to be a cop has to learn jiu-jitsu. You have to be physically trained. You got to be in physical shape. You can't be some big fat dude as a cop.
They're not when they come out of the academy.
Well, then
that
keep
happens.
them like that, and you got to.
That's what I just said. They have to train. They don't
because
have time.
what happens is that you understand your own defense is like, I can no longer fight that good, so I'm just going to go for my baton. I'm going to go for my taser. I'm going to go for my gun. But if you're physically in shape, you have the mental capacity to lower it down and say, hey, let's talk about this. Because you kind of know you're a scrapper as well. It's just like when you see a black belt, you can never fight him, or a UFC fighter going to a bar and somebody giving them shit, they're going to go, because I know I can rip your head off, I'm just going to kiss your butt and nothing's going to happen. That's the mentality the cops have to have. They can't just go straight. But when you hire these little people and they're scared and you got this big guy coming from, yeah, the cop does feel like I'm going to get killed, and they pull out their piece. But if you had a badass cop there and the guy's not armed, okay, we may go toe-to-toe, but I'm not going to shoot you. So they do feel like they're in fear because they're not training them correctly. That's just my opinion. I could be totally wrong.
I don't think you're 100. I think you're not off, but I do think they're
That's
trained.
step one.
No, I do think they're trained correctly, but you got to give them the money, the resources, and the time.
Yeah, you can't just train them to an academy
and then
say
go and work 100
Right.
hours a
Right.
week, and like there's no way you
No.
can do that.
You got to
I think
train
you
them.
guys are missing a big part of the equation, though, because for so long as there are donut shops, we're gonna have fat cops.
Yeah, you got that right.
That's where they meet. That's where they go.
Yeah.
Bad cop, no donut. You know?
Well, you ever see the
I like donuts.
you ever see those cops
cream filled.
Exactly.
like those cops?
Jam top.
You'll see them at night with their dome light on, like parked in their condos looking down. You know, I figured out this. They're actually like rolling a joint because 10 minutes later you see them at a donut shop. Then all of a sudden you hum. The police were like, "Didn't I see you down the street?"
And it's legal in California.
When you
Yeah, you can
get
do it,
busted
yeah.
with pot, they check it, and I eat
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah.
The good stuff.
So hey, Sean, seriously, if somebody has a situation where they've been falsely accused of a theft and they've been in that, how can they get a hold of you? Like, give that out right now. We want.
Oh yeah. Do
Yeah.
you do that now? Would you represent?
Yeah, I have cases all across country.
Yeah.
So
So
we'll do a big shout out for him at the end, but we could do it now. But what do you do, Sean?
let's do both.
Let's do it all the time.
Yeah.
How do people get
Let's
in touch
do it
with you?
all. Let's
Yeah.
do it all day long.
Just all day long.
Yeah. I want to know how.
gonna be the
how-
Sean
if
Day.
You can say it. How do people get a hold
We'll
of
give
you?
your own day for the city, a key to the city.
If people want to get a hold of me, it's pretty easy. Google search. You search coerced confession. There was an article in 2014, and one of the longest legal articles in the New York Times. And I tell you, don't ever agree.
Is it your article?
Yeah.
Okay, what's
about
it
one
about?
Of the cases about it's the title is When Employees Confess, Sometimes Falsely. And I'm warning you, if you ever get called, if you know what I'm talking about. But if you get called by the New York Times to do an article, be ready to spend some time. It took 6 months. They went, send me documentation on that. Send me document. Okay, then they reworded everything. And now it's like, wow. I do now believe that Wall Street Journal and New York Times, they fact check a lot of stuff because for 6 months they fact check. I had to scan things and this back more of the fax days. It was before scanning was popular, but now scanning.
So what did that case involve, and why were you highlighted by the New York Times? What happened?
It
in that
actually
case?
circled back when you mentioned the Innocence Project. It got started at Stephen Drizzen, a professor at Northwestern Law School, Northwestern University Law School, Chicago, and Scott Turow, who wrote he's an author. He's got probably 8 or 9 or 10 books. He's a good lawyer out of Chicago also. I think he's a now-person author. He doesn't practice law anymore, hasn't for a long time. But they're like really involved. Those guys put a lot of energy into. Ralph Nader participates in the Innocence Project. But that's a lot of where it comes from is people are trying to, I haven't really worked on that many cases where I've gotten people out of jail because I don't do as many criminal things. And most of the people that get busted for retail theft or get coerced into confession for something they didn't do, they don't spend more than a night in jail and they're released if they spend any time in jail. So I'm not getting them out of jail, but they call me and I've handled. We've lost one case in Houston. Jury just didn't give a shit, and we didn't have very strong evidence of innocence. Again, but I wasn't even sure my own client was innocent. But even if you're not, even if you're guilty, they still have to follow the law. They're supposed to call the police and treat you fairly, not hold you there for an hour to 2 hours. Most people, it takes an hour to 2 hours before they crack because at first you're like, well, no, I didn't do it. And no, everybody wants to deny it, and I understand that. And then they poo-poo it down. They rationalize, how it's not a big deal. They minimize the offense. They rationalize why people need money for rent. And what was your situation? You don't seem like a drug dealer or anything like that. You seem like a good person. You probably need money to make a car payment or something. They start just giving you suggestions, and it's a.
Can't the person just get up and leave if they wanted to?
If you can live without a paycheck, if you think you have another job so you can put diapers on your kids.
That sucks.
Yeah, they take advantage of the situation.
I have a young kid right now.
Why
has
isn't
high
there any
anxiety.
legislation being written by someone like you that would prevent this? Like that would tell the big box stores, the small box stores, any store, if you ever, your policy now by law that the person you're going to accuse must have either a witness or an attorney present with him.
Or they have to record the entire interview and provide that in court.
Yeah.
Right, discovery.
Good, yeah, exactly. And I've tried to make settlements, and sometimes in a mediation I'll say, if you'll agree to start recording your interviews, then we'll do it for $100,000 less. Oh, no, not ever. And I say, why? It's a power trip, It's 2 against 1. It's
their word against his.
Our word against yours. You're a peon. We got 2 managers against 1 peon. Who's going to win that?
Right.
They have to record these things. Even the police are required to record when they're interviewing somebody. They have to turn their body cameras on.
Well, because it's a public versus private sector. I don't think the private sector has.
Yeah,
to.
but we need to change that.
Well,
that's what I mean. Let's get legislation that protects everybody, and even if you are guilty, that's fine. But that recording has to be discoverable immediately within 24 hours, so that person can go, listen, I just got fired. I don't know what the hell happened, but I have access to this tape. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, we know some state senators we can pitch that to.
Yeah, it's a
for
good
California. It's a really good one. Yeah. I think they will run with it.
Yeah, no, I think it should be mandatory. Because in some of my cases, when the police arrive, bing, do I have permission to record? Yes, and the police tell them to do it to protect themselves. You'd think the loss prevention people, if they're playing by it, would want to protect themselves.
Right.
And I've asked, high-level lows and AutoZone VPs of human resources, you talk to them, who made this rule about no recording? Well, nobody knows who made it, but say, why don't you record? Well, we think that a written question and answer is the most reliable way to get somebody's truth.
I can tell you why. Because they're lying. They don't want to be held liable. They're going to give them different scenarios where they're coercing them. They're going to get caught probably breaking their own policies or procedures, probably breaking criminal laws that protect criminals or people who are accused of a crime.
Making false promises.
Making false promises because they're lying. So they're going to say this old policy, we just don't allow that. Well, who said that? Well, I want to record myself because that's what the citizens started doing. The citizens started looking at the Constitution, especially the First Amendment, freedom of expression, freedom of speech, freedom of press, and they go, we need to start filming it. So they got their cameras and they told the cops, you cannot stop me for this. I mean, it was the brave individuals that started doing this. And has it had an impact? Yeah, cops are they're not messing with people that much anymore. Yeah. So how about if you are able to film yourself and go, hey, I want to film this.
Yeah, I've asked them. I said, what if all three? What both managers and with cell phones now? Cell phones can record for an hour, 2 hours. 3,
right.
If you need to plug it in, you plug it in. But said, I asked VP. People who make $500,000, with Christmas bonuses, make $500,000 a year, being a big cheese at these corporations. And you go to their home office and take their deposition. I say, so you wouldn't want to have 3 tape recordings or video recordings? So you could, oh no, those are all subject to manipulation. I said, if you start comparing them, you'd be able to tell. It's all manipulation. I thought, really? So my client can't be manipulated behind closed doors. Why did it take 2 hours to get my client to confess?
Right.
If he's guilty, he's guilty. It takes 10 minutes, 20 minutes.
Right.
But why did it take 2 hours? And what would be wrong with having a recording? Well, that'd just be all that we have to handle it then, and we have to deal with it then, and we have to be.
So it has to come from a state law or federal law that mandates anyone who's accused, an employee, who's getting in prison or getting talked to, they have to be. It has to be recorded.
But
Yeah,
I can.
audio and
I'm
or
going to
video.
Audio and
suspect.
So
video,
easy.
Right.
Are these stores?
It has to be
Are
video.
these stores unionized or not?
Most aren't, and then in fact,
Yeah.
in their employee manuals, some of these companies will brag about how we don't want that union here. We have a beautiful culture, and we don't want the union to come and disrupt it. And but
Right.
See, that's why unions end up coming in because
Yeah, 'cause they're
they got to
needed.
protect exactly.
Right. You're-
They got to
you know,
protect
people-
the employees.
Yeah,
'cause
if
if,
you-
'cause if you have a union, you have to have a union rep at any interview like that. So
Right.
it'd ruin it. If you're a union, you can't do what you do.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
so
Well, that's why they do it. That's why unions exist.
Right.
Because employees getting their butt kicked at work.
Right.
They have no protection. No one's looking out for them. And the union comes and goes, hey, we want to know what's going on. That's what it's for. It's to
yeah,
protect.
if the corporations were doing the right things, you wouldn't need them.
Wouldn't need
they
'em.
weren't torturing these poor guys.
And who
Look,
knows what else they have? They have like those security guards that have sex with the girls who stole to get.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
what was that?
Like if a female has a shoplifts and they bring him to a room, and the guy, the security guard says, "Have sex with me, and I won't charge you." Does any of that
Does that happen?
Not as much in retail as it did. There's a guy serving time, one of the San Diego PDs serving time right now for. He would go trolling down to the gas lamp at midnight, 1 and 2,
Oh, yeah.
and watch a girl stagger to her car, and then as soon as she starts pulling away, boom, and then it'd be kind of like, well, you're a pretty lady. I mean, and I guess he got caught because he ended up going home with 2 drunk girls, and then at their house, one of the girls went and called the police to come and get that police. It was like, I think that's what started it all.
I remember that dude.
No.
Yeah, what a dick.
But it does a little bit in loss prevention.
Yep.
But not as not the loss. A lot of the dynamics not there. I don't think it's not a. Although you say a lot of people like, how can a 40-year-old man be attracted to a 6-year-old kid? It's not that. It's a weird.
Right.
But I'm sure it happens some, but I don't see much of it at all.
Oh, okay.
I think it's
That's
just
good.
Yeah, at least that's good.
We don't know about it,
Yeah, yeah. It's just. So
but
much-
I can see how that could happen.
Yeah, totally.
What you do see a lot more of is in the sexual harassment cases, you see managers that use the Christmas dinner to turn one thing into another, and did the relationship start at work, and then it's an issue. Oh yeah, but he took her. That was after hours. It was at 2 a.m. But yeah, but how did it get from the workplace to there? And if you could draw a nexus or connection, there's
You know
it's
the
wor-
connection's always alcohol. It's like always.
Yeah, so he can't go
Yeah.
anywhere. But what's funny about like workplace sexual harassment, because you meet people and you say like, you see a nice couple and you go, hey, where'd you guys meet? They go, we met at work.
yeah.
So, okay, something happened at work, sexual, right? But you guys just happen to get married. But then
Yeah.
you meet someone at work and you have a bad separation, it's sexual harassment.
Yeah, it's especially. if
So
it's
how come no
authority
one
and
looks at these
underling.
people who meet at work as, well, you're kind of part of the problem. If you actually met at work and you had a sexual relationship, you decided
Well,
to get
because
married,
if it's mutual
Right.
and they both are
then it's not
are okay.
harassment.
But I
know, but there's
but
still
that
a
sexual
line.
harassment stuff exists.
Oh, my
and then when you hear what some of these guys do, because it's normally guys on girls, you got to shake your head and go, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah, some of
like
them
you
are.
actually did that?
Right.
They're out of their minds.
Yeah.
I've been handling those cases since about 1998, 1999.
You do sexual harassment too?
Yeah, and I keep thinking that eventually aren't guys going to get a little smarter and
Right.
realize that you can't do that?
Right.
But what happens is it's a narcissistic eomania
Right,
that
exactly.
makes them think that other idiots get caught, but I'm going to do it in my slick way and not get caught because
Right.
no girl's going to get mad at me because I got a special wand I'm going to show her. And
Right,
I'm going to show her
exactly.
my love magic stuff. And I think that they really
Yeah.
convince themselves that they got this. They're too good to get in
Yeah,
trouble.
they're sick.
Yeah.
They're
So
sick.
It is. You're
Yeah,
right. It's
they
the same
actually-
kind of child molestation type mentality.
yeah, they harass the people and make them feel
Uncomfortable.
uncomfortable. And can you imagine going to work? I mean, we're men, so that never happened to us, but
It does. Men do get sexually
I
harassed.
know,
Yeah, no,
but-
I've had reverse sexual harassment.
oh, believe me,
Female manager,
yeah, I
happens.
had an experience with that too. It was ugly, but it's rare. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
much
But
more
can you
rare.
imagine if you're a female and this guy's just gonna just start trying to grope you and saying you better do what I tell you or you're gonna get fired, and you're just like you don't want to lose your
Yeah.
job. You're one paycheck away. Like I got to do this.
Yeah, bullies.
Yeah.
When you mention alcohol, not surprisingly, one of the most common
So gross.
employers where sexual harassment comes out of is the restaurant and bar industry, where women are wearing skimpy clothes, they bend over by a cooler and smack that fanny type mentality, and most bartenders aren't supposed to drink, but it's more common that they do than they don't.
Right.
They know where they can go to be away from camera. They have stashes here and there. It's very common. They go in the bathroom and have powder that goes up their nose. It's like a lot of stuff goes on in bars I've learned through.
You want to hear something
And
weird about
nightclubs.
the powder going up the nose now?
Huh.
Because I was at a house with one of my painting contractors a couple days ago, and he gets a phone call. One of their employees overdosed on fentanyl.
Oh, shit.
And it was
A painter?
I don't know if it was a pay. There was a construction site. There was everybody, all the electrical, framers, whatever. But now every single street drug, including crystal and coke and all that, are laced with like tiny bits of fentanyl because it's just super highly addictive. And so I don't even think you can do that anymore. Like if you think you bought cocaine or you're doing cocaine, you could just die. So
the game's over. If you're taking drugs, I mean, it's just going to keep going because America loves drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's getting pissed at China for sending chemicals over. They're getting pissed at Mexican cartel for manufacturing and distribute it. What about the buyers? Like if you don't buy it, it's dead.
Yep.
So we have a huge appetite for drugs.
Mm-hmm.
America loves drugs, pharmaceutical, illicit or illicit.
And it's surprising because reality is not cool enough. They want to alter reality. I mean,
Right.
man, reality blows my mind every day. Just
Right.
plain old reality if you look at it the right way and enjoy it.
Well,
the
that's
right
what everyone
way,
says who had the people I know who have had addictions, when they see the world sober, it's always talking to them is inspiring because they go, I've never been sober and dealt with this, and it's so much better and it's so much brighter, and I didn't even know this existed because they had that addiction.
Being present, yeah.
Yeah, being present. One of my good friends was on Vicodins, and he was completely addicted. And he explained it to me. He goes, hey, if you ever been in love with a woman, a real love, a romantic love, there's always like one or two in your life that you just go, I love him so much. He goes, times that by 100. And that's how much you love this drug. You'll go anywhere. You'll jump over a fence. You'll steal. You'll travel. You'll get up at 4 a.m. You'll go find it. It's just like having the best love affair with this girl you're trying to meet, and then when you get it, it's just like so satisfying. You want more, He goes,
and he raised the
he goes,
bar
now try to say,
to the normal.
and then all of a sudden, like someone says, you can't do that anymore. It's like breaks your heart. You can't stop, But once he was sober, he goes, you don't even know what the world's like until you're sober because you're so caught up in the drugs.
But like you say, when you get rejected by a lover, if you lose a drug, you've like lost a lover. Like Jimi Hendrix and Jerry Garcia and a lot of Kurt Cobain, the guys that they say that when you play a musical instrument, you make art on heroin. When you're not on heroin, you just don't feel
Can't do it. Right,
it's
right.
Like, so you've taken your music to another level,
Right.
But you're dependent on heroin to do it,
Right.
and it's a vicious cycle. It's
Yes,
something.
a lot of poets, Edgar Allan Poe, and all these people did a lot of.
They ate peyote and stuff too back then.
They
I heard.
peyote. Every time you see someone being super creative, they're chewing or smoking or shooting up something. There has to be a stimulus
can't
there
be creative without
or else
being
you're just
whacked.
like
well, there's a big push to legalize psilocybin.
there should be.
And they said there's some pharmaceutical aspects of it
microdosing
that
helps
help.
with PTSD.
It helps with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen
But how
it.
do you know
There's
what's a
soft drinks now. I don't know
microdose?
what states. I think Florida. I've seen it. I think California too. They make
California.
elixirs with mushroom in them.
Yeah.
They're finding out the whole thing about drugs when Nixon declared the war on drugs, and they showed those bullshit people freaking out. They said,
Reefer madness.
Yeah, reefer madness. They act like that was from weed, and
Yeah.
they go, "Oh, look at this." Yeah, Cheech and so they made it so bad when it's like getting stoned is like, what happens? You don't want to do anything. You want to eat ice cream.
But
you don't want to drive.
But
you
the
don't want to fight.
weird thing about
you don't freak out.
marijuana now, the THC level in
it's
the
really
marijuana
high, right,
we
right.
had when we were growing up.
Totally different.
Disclosure,
Yeah.
full disclosure.
You used to smoke a joint
It was-
from Mexico and you wouldn't even get high.
But it was-
like,
Yeah,
it was-
so smoke another one.
Yeah.
yeah, you can keep smoking. Nothing happens. You smoke one now, you're in a different level.
It was 4% THC.
Yeah.
Now it's up to 30%.
right.
And so they're getting these weird kind of hospital overdoses on weed because
It's too much.
it's too much THC.
It's not the
they're not dying,
right.
but they're not doing well.
Yeah, they're tripping. But the problem is now is that, like you said, everything is laced with
Fentanyl.
fentanyl. So you smoke a joint, and you stop breathing.
You can even put fentanyl in marijuana. Holy
Well, yeah, but you can't.
yeah,
but
they're
but it
just-
doesn't work if you. It doesn't work if you light the marijuana on fire because you destroy the fentanyl molecule.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's no problem.
No,
You just gotta light it up,
no, you have to vape it.
vape it.
Yeah.
Oh, if you vape the
If
fentanyl,
you can
you
do
sure
it.
about that?
I'm
People
po-
are listening.
I'm positive.
Okay.
Been
that-
doing it for years.
That if you
Yeah.
that if you
Yeah.
if once you burn it,
Yeah.
it destroys
Yeah,
it.
that's
Like
my
it's on
sense.
fire.
Huh.
But there's ways to get marijuana, smoke marijuana.
Well, the vaping gets the THC out, but it doesn't actually burn
Yeah, it does.
hot.
Right, it doesn't
It
burn.
just gets the chemicals.
so
That's
you
why-
can put it in the juice, in the vapor.
And you hear stories that fentanyl's so powerful, and I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm just scared enough to believe it because it's safer to believe than test. But like the joint that has the fentanyl in it, just by touching it, you rub your eye, rub your mouth, get your hands in your mouth. That's how
People
powerful
say
fentanyl is.
that.
It went
but
back and forth, right? There's a couple people that acted like they
There's
touched
people
it.
that say that. Yeah, it's really not transdermal.
Right.
But I'm no expert, but from what I understand, that it's really hard.
You just don't want to be near that shit.
Yeah.
You know,
Words,
just,
words kind of scares me. Like,
that's
they use
game.
it for
That's
end of life
game
now.
over time.
Fentanyl and morphine are the two most common end of life.
Yeah.
Caregiver.
Right.
It's a couple drops under your tongue, and you won't wake up the next day. That
Yeah.
kind of thing. When somebody's
So they're going to
Is that
have
how
to
they
do.
do it?
quality of life question.
Yeah. So morphine. They went from
We
morphine
used
or
morphine with
fentanyl.
my dad, morphine sulfate or something like that. But it's
Yeah. They get nice high. I mean, that's a good way to go. I would think if get nice, good.
Made
fast-
my heart's racing just think about it now. It was 2 years ago, but still, my brother did it. I was there though. I was kind of like, oh, this is like
I saw my
one of those
father-in-law
things you never think you're gonna
pass
find
away
yourself in.
Yeah.
You know?
like that. It was, yeah.
We don't want to go too dark.
Yeah, he went
No.
easy, but I was thinking about that. Like, why don't they give that to people who want to commit suicide? Is that
What?
legal?
Committing suicide?
Yeah, just get a
no one's
couple
ever been
drops.
convicted that were successful.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
they
they
have, now
prosecute.
they have baby drops. I mean, they have check in. If
Isn't
you
there
have
something
a
where
bad
you can-
day, make them wait 24 hours, like buying a gun. You shouldn't be able to buy a gun without waiting 24 hours and make sure you're not.
Right.
doing
That's what they have. It's called the cool-off period for 10 days when you buy a gun in California because most people go in there, I want to get a gun, I'm going to kill her, I'm going to kill that, I'm pissed. And they go, cool-off period, 10 days.
Yeah. So same now. Certain hospitals in the country have anonymous, no harm, no foul, no charges brought. The baby delivery, people turn in their babies
Right.
to back, like immediate foster care kind of thing. They're just a baby. I guess it goes through an adoption process.
Well,
but-
they do that all the time. They used to do that with you bring your baby to the fire department, you can drop off a baby.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Yeah. So if you're having you're pregnant, you don't want your parents to know you have this baby. You don't
Really?
want
The
baby.
fire department?
Yeah. You could take a baby to the fire department.
Because they can entertain it. They got the pole the kid can slide down. They got the bells. They
Yeah,
can ring.
exactly.
Ding, 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 ding.
Try on this outfit.
Yeah, they got the big boots they can wear
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, you could take
As
them.
kids growing
I
up,
mean, children's hospital. I mean, the fire department. Where do you take a baby? Right, you go to the fire department, and the fire department, of course, doesn't keep it. They call children's hospital wherever they do, but
Because I was thinking that's how firemen get hired. They just grow up there.
yeah, they just
And
they have a
They have a
baby
room in the
daycare.
back.
Hopefully, and they have a stress level though, but that same stress level should where people they should have more of a humane acceptance. And in the last 30 years, the whole idea of being under professional mental health care has changed entirely. I mean, when we were growing up, if you were seeing a psychiatrist, people stayed away and thought
Right,
you were
exactly.
wacky
Yeah.
from the Twilight Zone. You
Right,
know?
right.
Now it's like
Everyone has a counselor.
or at least two. You know,
Right,
that,
right.
I use that.
You're
one for
not
my-
cool
my
unless you
family
talk to someone.
issues. I say one psychiatrist for my family issues, one for my personal issues, and they're like, I thought
Yeah.
you saw a psychiatrist yesterday. Oh, that's a different one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true. People
It
will
is
say
like-
that. Like I was talking to my counselor the other day. It's like totally good now.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
It's almost. It used to be stigma. Now
Well, it's just like AA. You know, Alcohol Anonymous is not anonymous anymore. People go, I'm going to go to my, I got to go to my group.
Yeah.
And everyone. I remember back in the 80s, or actually the 90s, when the Vicodins were really being, everyone had the pill mills, and if you got a backache, and everyone's popping Vicodins and drinking a beer, and no one thought anything of it because you were told they weren't addictive. At least the pharmaceutical told the doctors, but obviously they're addictive because they feel good. You start taking them, and that was a hard one to get off. But
Well, not everybody who takes 1 or 2 or 3 Vicodin
yeah, it
are
gets
going to get addicted.
Yeah,
even if you're on it for a week or so.
I'm like that.
But
I have
some
them
people
out
can't stop. No,
Right.
you just can't go to the bathroom.
I had
Yeah,
Vicodin.
that's it.
Yeah, I had Vicodins. I took like 3 or 4 of them when I,
Hurt your-
broke my back, and fell at work. Anyway, there was a time where it really hurt, but I couldn't crap for like 4 days. I'm like, dude, I'd rather
That hurt
take the
worse.
pain. That hurt worse. And then when I did,
Pass that potato.
put
It's like, oh,
put
geez.
crime tape
Exactly.
around that bathroom. I was like, I'm not
Yeah.
doing this ever. Like,
Right.
who would take this stuff? Just a constipation, and then they have this. I didn't want.
They have a drug right
and
now
it wasn't
for
even
that.
It didn't even feel that good. Like that. It was. You get a high, but it was more like.
But they made a drug, an
don't like it.
opioid
Yeah.
anti-constipation
Yeah,
opioid drug. So if you're taking pain meds, you got to take another.
It's like
med.
the pharmaceuticals. Side effects. Take this. Like everything has a
You
side
keep
effect.
stacking on
You
top of
stack
each
it
other.
up.
Instead of putting a suppository in the back end, you take a pill in the front end.
Also, that's how you use it. I've been doing it in reverse.
Yeah, don't need the suppository.
people
Right.
Bad
stressed
Am I
aftertaste.
supposed to take the aluminum foil off these before I chew on them?
What do you want me to do? This? Shove it up my ass? Yeah. Oh.
It's like a little miniature blimp.
Exactly.
Wait, who designed that thing? It's
I don't need to go
painful.
poop that bad, Dad. I'm not doing that.
A miniature blimp. And they should put
Exactly.
Goodyear on the side.
It's
so-
not pointy enough. It's too round. It's not
So
pointy enough.
imagine if you were constipated like that all the time. And a lot of these people live on the streets. And
Right.
They either
Oh
have
my
diarrhea
God.
or constipation. They go
Yeah.
from one extreme to the other. What I'm saying is, I mean, we treat our animals with more humanity than we treat our human
my
beings.
God.
We got to change this culture. It's not a stigma to decide, I'm going to choose my own quality of life. I'm not enjoying this life at all. I'm creating
Yeah.
hardship for other people. I'm
Right.
hating. And if you do that for more than a few days, maybe a 10-day waiting period or whatever, but I mean, they got to make it more acceptable to decide that Eugene, where my son lives in Eugene, he says they have a system up there that makes it more acceptable to say, I want to end my life and go to the hospital and do it in a humane way, and so I don't have to be a burden.
Oh,
on
really? You
society.
can kill yourself in Oregon?
I'm not. I know.
I know that one girl. Remember, she had brain cancer and she got to go on some hill.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm
and
not sure what the
commit
conditions
suicide.
are. I'm not
She
sure if
planned
anybody
the
else.
whole-
Well, they had that
She
guy,
planned the whole thing.
Dr. Kevorkian, he was assisted suicide. He got
Yeah,
busted.
yeah.
They
Yeah,
threw him in jail.
That guy
Right.
was correct. He didn't do anything wrong. The people are going to die.
He was
They have
telling
like 2
him how
weeks
to do it.
live. Right. They have cancer. It's stage 4. They're falling apart. Their eyes are sunk in their head. And the guy goes, just give me the pill. I don't want to die the slow death. Like I'm in a desert dying. Let me kill myself. And the doctor goes, okay, I agree with you. Are you ready to go? Yeah. Shh. What's wrong with that? We do it to our
It's like
animals.
having a directive when you get older,
Right.
When you watch a few old people and you watch them suffer and die, you think, man, I want to have a directive that says as soon as I can't have any coherent meaning and there's
Right.
a doctor says it's not reversible,
Yeah.
don't make any. Nobody has to watch me those last 3, 4, 5 days, wither
Right.
away. It's
Right.
It's like not good for
I agree
anybody.
with that. There's no way you're going to reverse. Everyone thinks there's going to be some miracle. There's no way you're coming back, and you're suffering. And your last visual, because I think about like my daughter. She's gonna, what is she gonna do? When you die, you leave them sad. So I don't want the last thing from my daughter to see is me wilting and rotting and just seeing her suffer. It's just like, hey man, kiss me. I'm gonna be gone and just take the hit, and then
I
you
think-
just. Shh.
I mean, it's a social.
You know what I mean?
thing,
That way
though.
it's
It's like-
gone.
yeah, and then
Like why slow death? Like 6 weeks in the hospital until you see the person. Like when Jobs died, the guy. Did you see the pictures before and after Steve Jobs?
No,
Oh my God, he looks so bad.
Emaciated, yeah.
So emaciated. Like
he didn't want to die. He was
yeah, that
holding on
probably-
to life.
Yeah, that probably. Yeah,
He's
that's
like,
probably true.
I don't want to go. He did everything to stay around.
Yeah.
He's like, no way.
I wonder if they're going to find a cure for that. It seems like they could.
Do you know why
reverse the
men
aging
die
process.
before married men die before their wives? They want to.
freedom. Get to heaven before there's any problems.
Like even my engineers are laughing back there. That's a sexist
No,
thing to say.
is it coming from medicine or is it coming from society where we think that everybody's going to live forever? And so
Yeah.
No,
far,
that's what I
not
mean.
one person's lived forever. We act like, oh, nobody can die. Nobody can
What
die.
about
It's like a scary
Jesus?
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
One exception.
Jesus.
Yeah.
His real name is Jesus.
Yeah,
I
Jesus.
I work for him.
I can't picture about Jesus. They keep showing him like this beautiful blonde guy. I don't think
Looks
he's
like
a
Peter
blonde.
Looks like Peter Frampton.
He does. He looks
And
like a
wears a
guitar
white robe
player.
and-
He's got these blue eyes, this really chiseled face, this long hair. Somebody put a thing on him. I mean,
That was an
he
artist.
was an Arab.
That was an artist rendition done. Well, he's
Right.
a Semite, like
I
an
mean,
Israeli.
yeah,
Like,
the guy's probably.
I was never lucky enough to meet Jesus personally.
Yeah.
But I met people through the lineage. Their kids of kids of kids, parents have met him, and they said that dude could drink so much red wine. He was like a Portuguese fisherman almost. It was like just, oh my God. And then he got all his buddies drunk, so drunk they would said, oh, he's walking on water, man. He was like walking on water.
It was all the wine.
Yeah.
So, whoa.
I was in Israel, and I was there where he was born and where he carried the cross and all that. That's it. Like, if you've never been to Israel, you got to
Kind of
go.
religious, didn't it?
Why don't they?
Oh my God! It changed.
Bethlehem, Jerusalem. And
It's a life changer when you see when you're there.
So
Actually,
so
where
Jesus
history
was
happened.
an Arab.
He wasn't an Arab. I think he was
I mean,
a
he's
Semite.
from. He was
No,
from.
he was-
he's
he
Middle
was
East.
from
Frank,
day
he
to
was
day, he would
Jew.
do whatever he wanted to be.
He
That
was
one of his
Jewish.
master
No,
He
he
wasn't
was
a-
Jewish, but I mean, he was
He's a Semite. He was from that area.
from the area,
So
whatever.
most likely, he probably had dark
Wait
hair.
a second.
Could you imagine if they had like guitars and
He
drums
wasn't
back
Jew-
then? How that dude could have.
He was
Gee-
Jewish.
No, he died. Then the Jewish religion started because
No, he was a Jew.
Oh, he's
The
a
Jewish
rabbi.
was before.
It depends which
Oh my
religion
God,
you
you have
study.
no history.
Okay, he was
We're
a
gonna
Jew.
have to fact
Was
check
he a Jew?
Judaism. Well, that's the
Look
majority
it up.
consensus.
Look it
is
up,
that,
guys.
But then if
All right, hold on. We'll find out. I think he was.
I think
Okay.
I
So
think
why?
he was
So how come everyone hates Jews? I mean, I'm a Jew. I can
Not,
say that.
I
but
don't
it's
think
like,
everybody.
if-
I think everybody. But there's a lot of.
I think
There's
the
a lot of
Beatles
Not
like Jews
everyone.
because the Beatles had the one song,
All right,
"Hey
we're gonna read.
Jews," and then they're like singing to him.
Okay,
So
he was
I think
born
not everybody
of a
hates him.
Jewish mother in Galilee.
Oh, he's a Jew.
Right, a Jewish part
Oh,
of the
the
world. I've been
Galilee.
at
Yeah.
Sea of Galilee. I've been there.
yeah.
Cool.
Did you get some water from the Sea of Galilee on your forehead?
Dude, I'll tell you what the craziest thing is. If you go to this place called the Dead Sea, you cannot sink.
Oh, we know that,
There's
dude.
no
It's like
water.
this is like sixth grade geography.
No,
we're talking
but you
about.
have to be-
Everyone knows that.
But when you're actually
That's
in
easy.
it and
Right.
you're trying to sink yourself,
You can't swim down.
What's the
No,
one out here?
there's no
towards,
way.
Like past Havasu, there's a is that Salton?
Salton
Is that-
Sea, yeah.
It's like it's
It's
scary when
close.
you drive by.
Yeah.
There's like little trailers. Like, is it behind a movie
Yeah.
set or something?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good
Kinda
trip
creepy.
out there.
It's in Hakumba.
Cumbia, yeah.
The Salton Sea was an accident.
We drive
It
from
was
like
a
El
dive-
Centro to Palm Springs.
Yeah,
like you go through
sulfur, really bad sulfur.
was a diversion of the Colorado River that went sideways, and
Right.
and that's how you
Spilled
created
all the salt.
It spilled the.
Salton
That's how it was developed.
The Salton Sea was developed from
Yeah, it was an accident.
It was an accident.
Like,
and now they're trying to fill it back up with water because they don't know what to do.
yeah.
It's a colossal cluster. You know what?
Can you imagine if they drain it? How many bodies and dismantled cars and stuff they're going to find in there? It's like no one goes in there to find
I feel like it's kind of
anything.
like a refugee camp in that area because I look around, people always looking
That's
over their
kinda
shoulder
true.
and stuff.
But they found lithium out
the
there.
same way as a lot of people looking over their shoulder with tattoos up their neck and stuff.
Yeah.
Now tattoos up the neck are more common, but in the old days, that you're a pretty badass dude if you had the
Right,
teardrops go down the side.
Now it's like no
you're,
big
you're
deal.
prison task, but now it's like everyone's doing it. Everyone wants
Tattoos
to,
on the neck or the
Yeah.
in
tattoos
thing.
on the face or everything.
Whatever.
Everyone now. You don't even pay attention to them.
No.
Like 15, 20 years ago, it was kind of
But
scary.
5
to
years
see.
ago, it just started happening.
Now if somebody has tattoos on their neck or whatever,
It's
it's
like a birthmark. You
I
don't
think
even
it's
care.
well, it's not. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, some of them are.
Some
cool.
of them look cool.
Yeah, some of these guys are just like the full, really nice artwork.
Yeah.
and it goes down the arm. I've seen these
Little
ones.
sleeve.
But
yeah,
it's not
the
as
Asian tats.
It's not.
You know?
It's not stigmatized anymore. It's
No,
like
no
oh,
one
well,
cares.
whatever. Like you can do
Cops
whatever.
have tattoos all over. All these cops are doing the sleeves
Yeah.
now. No one cares about tats. I mean,
No.
you know, it used
You
to
have
be things-
tattoos.
I got 5
Let's
or
see.
6. I got like this. I got like this. But these are from the '80s. You know, when I was. This is like when
Before-
someone. When
Riding
someone
with the Hells
when-
Angels.
That wasn't.
back
That
then.
wasn't
this is when
popular
I
in
was,
the 80s.
Yeah, no, this is when I was on my bike and
Yeah, and had long hair.
long hair, big arms.
Yeah,
Yeah, now I'm old.
and they got
bald.
short hair
I don't
and
know if
skinny
it's-
arms.
A lot of my buddies have. I haven't had the combination of money, time, and pain resistance and confidence that I
doesn't
want to
even
have
hurt.
this on my body forever. It's like
Hey.
what I think my
You don't
Listen,
have any.
I'm gonna tell you
I have
something.
no tattoos.
I haven't
Well,
got one yet.
people with tattoos are dedicated because
They can
don't-
make a commitment.
they can make a commitment.
Right.
You get a tattoo, that's a big commitment.
Yeah.
I think maybe having a practical one, like have your phone number to your house or your seat. You know,
Let's
Yeah.
go
So
get you
you-
one today
First
after the
responder
after
or
the
something.
show.
Let's
do it
We'll
right
get you a
here.
tattoo.
has like some.
Just grab a
first
Sharpie.
We
We'll just
have
do a
it.
temporary one.
A henna tattoo.
I've done those ones just to see if I would like it.
Tats?
Yeah, I put the
Stickers?
Mike Tyson tattoo on the side of my face.
Oh,
I
you
have
did?
pictures. Yeah, I have pictures with
Does
it.
it look good?
Temporary tattoo.
No, it looked horrible.
Yeah. I don't,
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was
who talked that good.
horrible. I was
I
at a
mean-
party and they had a tattoo. I was at a bat mitzvah, my daughter's, and I had a little bit too much to drink.
a
and I
Jew
went to
with
the
a tattoo,
I
you're
went
not
to the
supposed to do it.
tattoo thing, and they go, which tattoo do you
The henna-
want?
the
I go,
henna shop?
put the tattoo of Mike Tyson on the side of my face. So like half the bat mitzvah of my face was good, and the other half of the pictures have a Mike Tyson tattoo on
Depends
my
which way you're
face.
looking, huh?
Jewish people are not supposed to get tattoos.
It was temporary.
Well, I got some. I'm Jewish.
Yeah, well,
Who cares?
yeah.
Because it's called manipulation of the skin. You can't
it's
manipulate
perforation. Can't,
Perforation.
You can't puncture the
The
skin.
needle.
But what about
Earrings. Yeah. But I know. it's
Nipple
bull-
rings.
Whatever.
nose
Keep
rings?
your personal stuff out of this, Frank.
And you have-
Nobody
do you-
wants
do
to
you have
know
more than
about
2
yours.
nipple rings?
Well, I have 3 that attach with a chain, and I pull it up like, hey, look at this trick. Now, I don't want
Can you
I don't
imagine?
want anyone touching my nipples,
Yeah.
poking at them. Leave my nipples.
We're
alone.
digressing
That's-
it for the conversations
yeah,
talking
so,
about
hey, wait,
your
talking about
nipples.
me, yeah.
So the good news is we have an advocate that's actually advocating for the rights of people
Yeah.
who do not have the means or ability to defend themselves, and that's Sean. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah. And they don't have the education because I didn't even know about this topic. I was thinking he was talking about people who steal from stores. They get caught shoplifting. They get brought in, and then the security hassles them. But these are actual employees you're talking about. So the employee gets something may have happened.
Right.
But let me tell you something. Those employees aren't innocent, Sean. You know that a lot of them are ripping off.
Oh, yeah. Some of them are.
So if you go by what they're doing, they go, okay, what do we do? All these people are ripping us off. We got to sweat them a little bit to get the confession because they're not going to say, hey, we think you're stealing from whatever, the locker room. This guy, every time you're here, something's missing or your cash register is always short. And you're like, I don't know why it's short. I'm not stealing.
Yeah.
Do you have
No,
proof?
I have
Leave me
no
alone.
problem with good,
Right.
accurate, reliable
Right.
security. I mean, like I said, crime is a big problem everywhere. Everywhere you go in this
But every
country,
once in a while, somebody gets falsely accused.
Right. But that problem is
should
becomes
set-
a self-fulfilling prophecy for these people because it's like
Right.
a win-loss column. Like
Right.
they have
They got to, right.
Regional Loss Prevention of the Year awards for the ones that gets the most confessions.
do they
and stuff.
really?
Yeah. So it's
Oh
like
my God.
you don't need to make it a culture of success.
Right.
You don't win or lose.
No.
You do your job the best you can, and there's ways to avoid having people confess falsely. I mean,
Right.
Well, the premise of the criminal justice system in the United States is it's better to have 100 guilty people go free than throw one innocent person in jail. So you have to have those protections for the people.
Right, the check and balance.
And the good way to do it is, hey, let's just record this.
yeah, that's
It's like it's so simple.
When somebody says we don't want to record on the policy, things have changed. They could say that like 5 years ago, but now with everyone, so much proof, like especially with cops, that people said they were getting harassed, and they weren't
Yeah.
being listened to, especially like black people in the South and all that. And they've been saying it for years. Like, you have no idea what it's like to get pulled over as black. And now when they started filming it, they woke up everyone to go, these guys aren't bullshitting. Look at these cops. Look
Yeah.
how they're acting. And of course, there's a lot of good cops, but there's a lot of bad
but it
cops
also
too.
protects the police officers because somebody
yeah,
might
because they're falsely accused. Because
that cop
yeah,
did this, and he
absolutely.
turns on
That
his body
happens
camera,
all the time.
and they go, "Looks like you're being pretty much of an asshole."
Right.
And you were the one who was
right,
antagonizing the cops,
Yeah,
not
I've
the other way around.
right. I've seen that in
So
reverse
it's
too.
so it's good. It
So the
covers.
bottom line is record it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with technology, it's so easy now.
So easy.
I mean, pretty much with digital satellites and everything, and it's not too far off in the future that everything you do in public is going to be recorded. I mean, ATMs record now, buses record now. You know, a lot of cab drivers, for safety reasons, have
Oh
recordings
yeah, the
going.
Uber drivers.
They record forward and in their car.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
so you're
awesome.
doing something crazy in the back seat. You
Right.
pull out that chain and put it around their
Right.
neck. You know, that's yeah. I asked him. I said, "Oh, so you have 2 cameras in your car?" I said, "Yeah, one for ahead of me and one for what's going on in my car."
Yeah.
That's pretty. That's like
Yeah, they got to
security.
protect themselves.
Yeah, because they get robbed. God dang, that's a scary job.
Would ever
being an
think
Uber
that would
driver.
be like a real job where you can just take your own private car and drive people around? Like you hardly ever see taxi cabs.
Not anymore.
They're
man.
almost non-existent.
Yeah, I haven't seen one for a while. I was just at the airport. I didn't see any. It's all Uber.
Lots of shared rides.
Uber, Lyft, and
I didn't know how Uber worked, but when there's a whole bunch of people like going to a convention, they jack their prices up a lot.
Oh man, demand high,
I
price
didn't
high.
know that. So I'm
Yeah.
like, so I go from my hotel to the convention. And one day it was like, I don't know, $8, and then I did the opposite. It was like $54. I'm like, what happened? Supply demand. So that's what. But the taxi cabs would always just have the meter the same rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're better off finding a cab.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
You can find one.
So what about those 18-wheelers? Because I remember you talked about, like, what happens when two 18-wheeler trucks or a regular car is involved with a commercial rig? That must be a whole different ballgame. Like, you just call your insurance, and then what happens?
Yeah, well, the rules of the road are pretty much the same. But for truckers, there's the FMCSRs, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations. It's a whole nother ball of wax because it's so, you got 70,000 pounds of loaded trailer, 53-foot trailer. And, 70,000 pounds compared to your 5,000-pound SUV or 10,000-pound heavy SUV, it's an uneven match. And so, the truck driver falls asleep or loses control going too fast down at somewhere in I-70 going through Colorado mountains, Rocky Mountains or something. The accidents are more devastating because of the weight comparisons.
Right. Nothing's stopping them.
Yeah.
Right.
And then in the commercial industry, you have the overriding force of you need to make the load. You need to make the load. You need to make the load. There's incentives for making the load, and there's disincentives if you miss the load. And so you got that pressure of the commercial dollar. Again, so much in our world is.
What's the
power of
number
the
one
buck.
mechanical failure that trucks that are involved in accidents? It's like you see those runaway things where the brakes go out. Is that typically?
Yeah, I've never seen one of those in person, but I've seen videotapes of them.
Yeah, me too.
And it's pretty
It's
aggressive,
crazy.
nasty. Yeah.
Right.
So, the rig, it's really just a life saving. You hope you live because the rig's going to get. A lot of times, one of the videos I saw, the trailer comes off the kingpin and gets detached, and the tractor keeps going. Pretty violent. But the most common maintenance issue I see on the road is tire failure, like the blown tires. And then, man, I say it can get wobbly, and that's why you're looking at you got an 8-pack in the back, 8-pack in the front, and then your steer tires. The steer tire is the one you don't want to blow. If steer tire blows, you're in trouble.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We had a steer tire in a 40-foot motorhome go out, and my wife Andrea was driving. Man, it was like scary. It was like a bucking Bronco. You're going boom, boom, boom. You're like, oh, and you hear the rim start gouging the road, and you're going, oh
you're
my God.
driving it?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
God.
like you're going 65 miles an hour, and it's scarier than hell.
Plus, that piece of tire flies out, can hit someone, right? It's those big slabs.
Yeah, and those will break your windows.
Right, it's like throwing a rock at you.
Yeah.
That's some thick steel belted tires coming at you at 70 miles an hour. It's going to go right through the windshield. You see those laying around the freeway. I was wondering, like,
Well, there's a big push for these semi-trailers to be automated, so they're not even using a driver. They're all AI driven.
yeah,
Yeah,
They'll have one
Tesla's
guy
got
in
a
the
line out now.
they have one
It's-
guy in the front who's driving, and then one dude in the back, and all the others in the middle are following.
Oh, is that how they do it?
Yeah, so
like a
almost
train.
almost like a
yeah,
train car. Yeah.
and so they're just following this line. And so I have an electric car. Even in my electric car, if I put it on cruise control, it slows down if it senses it's getting too close to the car in front, and you can control the distance when you want it to slow down.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
20
And then when the
feet.
car moves, it speeds back up.
And
You sit there.
You have lane bouncers and lane detectors when you start.
Yeah,
diffing
I've
out your
lane.
lane.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that thing's weird.
It's kind of scary
There's
the
a-
first time you feel it. When you're like,
Yeah.
man,
That's what he
what's
said.
tugging
He-
on my wheel?
We drove up to L.A. and I wanted to make a lane change. I didn't use my blinker, and it just kind of knocked me back. So I thought I hit something.
Yeah.
I'm like, what was that? And then he tells me, I'm like, are you sure? So I swerved this way a little bit, and it knocks you back. But it's scary when you first do it because it jolts you back. You can power through it.
You can let go of the steering wheel and drive it. You don't need to hold
That's
the
so
steering wheel. But
crazy.
after a certain amount of time, it tells you got to hold the steering wheel again.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah.
Gets lonely.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing I didn't like about the electrical cars because we go up to L.A. and on the way back we have to recharge it because all of a sudden it's like 24%. So, okay, well, how do we recharge these things? So you look on your app, Walmart is down the street and has 10. And then you go, okay. You
High
go there.
speed, low speed.
Yeah, and then you go, there's like 10 cars waiting for it.
Yeah.
And then these guys are taking they leave their
take, like-
cars and they go into the store.
Yeah.
So, they're gone. It's not like a regular
They're
gas.
not coming back.
They're not coming back. So then they go, the next person
They
comes.
come
I'm
back
like,
when they're finished shopping.
why do you buy
Yeah.
electric? Oh, I can't do it.
They're doing test runs right now. The first round of Tesla diesel tractor trailers.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool looking. They're very aerodynamic looking. And one of the most intelligent things about them is when you go up and down hills like the Grapevine or going through the Rocky Mountains I mentioned before, they're keeping up with the cars because they got that
Oh,
power.
wow.
They're not
Oh,
using
my
the
gosh.
combustion engine. So
Oh,
it's a
my
huge
gosh.
thing.
Right.
But what you just mentioned, the charging. Where do you charge all these? They got tons of batteries. You got what, 12, 15, 20 batteries in some of these SUVs.
How long does it take to charge them? 2 days?
Yeah, and then where are these truck stops going to be to have enough room for these guys to? I mean, if they have them at the truck stops, it would be pretty cool because they're going to go and sleep anyway. They're going to sleep in their sleeper.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to take decades to get the infrastructure up.
I think the first business, Walmart, FedEx, and one other company had the first batch of test running Teslas. They're on the road now. I haven't seen one, but I've seen pictures of them.
Wow.
There's nobody in them.
Are they in California?
I'm assuming they're going everywhere, just anywhere that trucks go.
That's interesting. There's so many things. Yeah, I saw the guy that, the chip he wants to put in people's brain. Everyone talks about Elon Musk, but I heard there's volunteers that are doing it right now.
I want a Frito. If I have to pick a chip,
just Frito Lay.
Frito or.
That's funny, Mark.
Did
you come up with that by yourself?
Yeah.
You get barbecue.
Exactly, barbecue. Barbecue. Frito.
But that's going to be cool.
Super hot.
Can you imagine if you put a chip in your brain and you want to just drive an A2?
Hey, the volume on my mic just went up. That's so nice.
Make
You guys just figure that out?
Make it go down.
He
after
figured
that
it out
joke.
like an hour and a half into the interview.
Let's start over.
Oh, you couldn't hear anything?
That's just a drive.
I could hear because I'm sitting 2 feet from you.
Right, but it sounds different now.
Oh, yeah. It sounds like I have a head cold.
And brothers always have a certain fish sonar type. You can hear each other better than anybody else can hear.
Yeah, exactly.
That
Swim in schools.
Womb similarity thing.
But so the areas of law that you do is you do the loss prevention type of laws, also the vehicle accident laws, and you delve a little bit in any other type of contractual laws.
Yeah, it was fortuitous, but because I had young kids to feed, sometimes they call it door law, whatever walks through the door, or toaster law, whatever pops up. I basically, when I left the big defense firm, I didn't want to work for billable hours anymore. I was like, the first time I got a defense verdict, and I called my adjuster, and I said, hey, Rosalind, guess what? I got a verdict. We got a defense verdict. She goes, oh, good. What about this case and this case and this case?
Right.
And I was like, I looked at the phone kind of like, is there a human being on the other end of this phone?
No.
Not just a widget counter. So I thought, I want to work for somebody where it matters. Now I get Christmas cards. I get food delivered at Christmas time.
That's so nice.
Banana bread and special. And I won a Filipino client that brings this really good lumpia.
Oh, I love lumpia.
Orange sauce.
Yeah, it's so good.
So tell us when you're coming. So she comes for a special lunch. Now, it's just nice to have clients that are like part of your family. Mm-hmm. And you go to my website, Simpson Law Group, and you look at some of the people that are like real people that I've really worked for, not some. And it's actually, when they talk, it's hard when you listen to somebody talking about you. You're kind of going, oh my God, they talk about me.
Right.
It just starts ripping your heart. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah, so
It's nice.
Yeah.
Especially if they're talking about an attorney. Because most of the time they don't say nice things.
Right.
And especially the first time you see it, like somebody did a professional video, and then you have no idea what your client's going to say. But then when you listen, you're going, oh my God, you're talking about me.
Right.
I get almost an apple.
It's nice.
Yeah. It's very rewarding. But what I start saying, I pretty much doing everything. I've handled about it. I've done real estate fraud cases, which I've done. Beach firing cases.
snips?
I've done dog bite cases. I've done sexual harassment cases. I had breach of business litigation cases. One business fighting over another for Solatube, and I haven't had a patent trademark infringement trial yet. I've handled a few of those cases. So there is one type of case, but other than that, I can't think of a civil. I tried criminal cases in Chicago when I was a young lawyer. But as far as being a civil lawyer most of my life, I can't think of any type of civil case, whereas most people do personal injury. I've done a bunch of that, but I've also done everything else too. It's like Longshore Labor Harbor Workers Case Acts. I did a little bit of workers' compensation early on, but that's like especially you got to.
What's your favorite? Let's say somebody comes in the door. What's something that you would really want to work on?
It's for like a grassroots fundamental purpose. These coerced confession cases really strike me because one, I didn't realize it was happening.
Yeah, I didn't realize it till right now, till today.
And I think, okay, every time you go in a box store, that stuff's going on.
Right.
And so every retailer is doing it. And if you look at Wyklander-Zalowski's website, here's a representative of their customers. It's every store you've ever seen.
Wow.
It's Lowe's, Home Depot, Michael's,
Everything.
Yeah.
And so all of their security is trained in this type of a
Yeah.
technique.
Yeah, Doug Wyklander and David Zalowski left John Reed's office and had a fight and infringement kind of another case I'd be involved in, like where people. I just don't like when people rip people off or treat people unfairly.
Right.
And that's just such a fundamental wrong.
I agree.
I do some
I don't like bullies.
elder abuse cases, nursing home cases. I've tried those. I've tried slumlord cases, landlord tenant stuff. But the ones it's when people defraud somebody. It just really bothers me.
Yeah.
Like that's just fundamental. Especially, you see, it's like your best friend's got one arm around your shoulders telling you how much they love you, and the other hand's in your back pocket taking your wallet. I'm
Right,
going, man,
yeah.
that's just dirty pool.
Right,
It's
yeah.
Like, and it's like there's just a fundamental sense of decency.
Embezzlement.
Where it'd be nice to walk out in the world in the old days when in a small town you didn't have to lock your car. You could leave your
Yeah.
car running in the parking lot. Nobody's going to steal
We
it.
didn't. Growing up in San Diego in the '60s, my dad was a milkman,
Oh, cool.
and he had the keys to people's homes, and he would pull up in the it was Golden Arrow, and he would
Oh,
go
yeah.
in
Good
there
memory.
and he would put the milk in the people's house and then
Yeah.
take the old bottles, because at that time
Recycle bottles.
there were bottles and they had these little milk caps that you'd stick in there, and he would deliver milk to everybody around
Yeah.
San Diego.
Yeah.
And then it changed when they got the cartons of milk, and some guy invented the gallon of milk, and he decided that if he put in a hollow handle, that when you pour the milk, it doesn't slug out. That's why the handle in the milk jugs are hollow, because it doesn't allow that
So
vacuum.
siphon it goes back,
Yeah, it doesn't allow. So that
Ventilation.
guy became. If he was working for himself, he became a gazillionaire. But
Oh, I didn't know that.
for patent, yeah, that's why the handle's hollow.
Okay,
you
so
can
your
pour
whole
it.
point was Dad didn't.
No, the whole point is that
Security,
that we've
locking your door,
changed.
right.
Yeah, we've changed from a culture where everyone was trusting
Right.
that you could leave your garage door open and not get your bike stolen,
Right.
to the minute you
Fortress, House of Fortress.
yeah, we're
20 cameras in your front door.
we
People
have.
ripping shit off your, porch.
You know something's wrong when
bad.
your house looks like a jail and you're the innocent person and the criminals
Right,
are on
right.
the outside.
You're behind the bars in your
Yeah,
house.
and they should be behind the bars. You're like, okay,
I know, that's so true.
Who's putting this narrative together?
They make these
Something's wrong.
They make these screens now that look like regular screens. They're a little bit bigger, but you cannot break through them.
You mean for your windows?
For the windows, yeah, you cannot. You can hit them with a bat. You could throw a brick
They
at
have
them.
they have garage door screens now
Security
for
ones.
the whole big garage.
for the
door.
whole
yeah.
big garage door, so you can actually get some air in your garage
Right.
without getting insects or predators and thieves and whatever.
Interesting.
Well, it's like a regular screen or security screen.
It's like a security
Oh, you
screen.
can't get in.
Yeah.
I wonder how.
Those are awesome.
I wonder how it jives with the one that's the audible roll up.
I don't know, but somebody has done that.
Yeah, security screens I like because you can keep your window open and no one can get in. They had them at the Domhart Fair, and the reason why I know because they go, okay, try to break this. I'm like, I can break it. They go, okay, here, try it. They gave me a mallet, like a 5-pound mallet. I couldn't break it.
Wow.
Remember when-
I swung. I tried to get a hole in that thing, and it just.
Remember
fell
when
out.
Elon Musk had his truck out there and he said, "My windows are you
yeah.
can't break them," and he threw a ball or something at it and it cracked.
Uh-oh.
And he's like,
Yeah, but maybe he
shit."
did that on purpose because
No, he didn't. He said it. I heard him. He said probably because they were throwing so many balls at it or whatever they were throwing at it that it weakened it and somehow that it just
Yeah, but
happened.
he got two windows. Remember, he goes,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
try the back window.
Yeah.
Broke again.
Yeah, I know. So,
Eh.
so he didn't feel too good about that.
What happened? I heard Musk was going to get in that one of those cage fights with Zuckerberg and
Yeah.
get in there and have a bare knuckle fight or a.
Well, I tell you what, I watched Zuckerberg, and that guy's a badass. I don't
Yeah.
care what anyone says. Did you see that guy's getting a little bit yoked?
Yeah, he's
and
in
he
good
won his
shape.
First, yeah, he's you know that guy, his brain, he's going to figure out because jiu-jitsu is really mental. It's about holding, it's about going, it's about maneuvering.
Leverage and
like,
timing.
and you know that guy's brain. I think he's going to be.
I think
really
he'd be good.
I wouldn't.
He looked
I
good
wouldn't
when he
mess
was
with him.
training.
I know he looked good,
And he looked like he was in good
He
shape.
kicked that guy's ass. Zuckerberg would whip Musk's ass.
No,
in
but
2
I'll tell you
seconds.
something.
What
I
do you
don't think
think?
I don't think Elon Musk is a pussy. I think
heard
he
he's
could
got some
fight.
jiu-jitsu or
yeah.
some martial arts
He
background.
just,
Yeah, well, he's definitely
he's
not-
just maybe
he's not a wimp,
little
for
bit
sure.
out of shape now. But
Yeah,
if he
but-
actually trained hard, it would be a good.
Yeah,
Look,
but Zuckerberg's training, man. I seen the guy loves it.
but think how much money that.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
And those
I
two
would
guys
watch
could
it.
afford to let it go for
Give it to- give
charity
it-
or something.
give
Pick
it
a
to-
couple
yeah.
charities.
They got to do it.
Let's figure out this homeless crisis.
San Diego homelessness.
Right.
Yeah.
Start
Oh
there.
my God, that would be global.
Yeah,
$1 billion
bet. You know,
bet.
you get like
That'd be
Conor
bigger-
McGregor or something like that, and there people are watching that stuff. I'm
Right.
thinking, God, do people really like this? But it is kind of like it's an OMG. You're like, I can't believe this really happened.
Yeah.
Right. No, they'd get much more money.
Everybody
than
would
Greg.
watch that.
Yeah.
Everyone.
McConnor would buy tickets. McGregor. McConnor? What'd I call him?
You said
Conor
McConnor.
McGregor.
Conor McGregor.
Conor
McConnor. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Conor McGregor.
I watched
right?
a documentary on him before he had tattoos. What a good father. What a nice dude.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
so cool with his
yeah.
kid.
He's so flip and so arrogant. And like
No,
so
but
And
he
he
knows
just
how to
seemed like-
play it.
you
No,
know?
he
Yeah,
knows how to
that's-
play it.
okay.
Everyone,
Yeah.
that's his villain.
It's good to know that he comes.
He was
from
in a he was in
there's
a
some warmth
like
in
a
his soul.
what is he Scottish? I guess he's Scottish.
Of course he's Scottish. What do you
Irish
think
or
he is?
Spanish?
Right, and he was out in his
Hispanic?
village, and he was just like a normal dude that just trained hard and
Right. He knew. He told his mom because I'm going to win. He had it.
yeah.
I mean, there's always some guy like that comes out of the woodwork and is just in a
Discipline.
different league. These guys, no, but it's even more than that. It's like all these guys are good to a certain level. All these pros are killing each other, and then you got this one guy that just can kick everyone's ass, and
It's a different level.
It's a different level.
It's highly disciplined,
He's not
highly
bigger.
focused.
He's not. It's just he just knows. I don't know. It's just
They're focused.
yeah. They're just so
That's it.
disciplined. They're meant to do it since they were born. But anyway, I think Zuckerberg. Yeah, I think if he continues training and he looks a little bit buffed out, he's eating good.
He looks pissed.
And he's probably is pissed. I mean, everyone like either loves him or hates him, so
Right.
he probably has something going on. And yeah,
But I heard the supposed fight with Musk and Zuckerberg was short lived. It's not
Yeah.
going to happen. But I mean, they don't need to fight very long. Just get in there and throw a few punches in the mud. You know, it's
No,
No, I
They-
think they'd probably want to.
I'd say fight to the death.
winner takes all.
Winner
Then
gets
you'd
your
make a lot of
business.
money. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
you
no,
get
fight
Tesla
over-
and or
yeah,
you get
right.
Facebook,
Yeah,
or
there you go.
Meta.
Yeah, Meta
Yeah,
versus
fight
X.
for the-
Meta
it's like those
versus
guys
X.
who race in
SpaceX
their
and
cars.
stuff.
Let's
No,
race for
not
pink
SpaceX.
slips.
They call that TikTok. They call it now X, right? No,
that
not
right?
TikTok. Whatever it's called.
No, it's called
What is it?
Twitter. Twitter.
Twitter.
Twitter's X.
Twitter's X. And what does the other guy have?
But
in
you want to hear
X?
something weird about that? I wanted.
Facebook's subsidiary of Meta now, right?
Meta and X.
Yeah.
I like that.
Meta
Yeah.
X.
I got burned out on social media during the Trump era.
Yeah,
I haven't
I
gotten
stopped
back to
posting.
it.
I haven't. My Facebook has like stuff from like 5 years. I don't know. I just thought, why?
Yeah.
You know, maybe to highlight your business, but social media it can harm
What do you mean
you.
social media? You're doing a podcast. What are you talking about? You're 100%
That's
into
different.
it. It's not different.
It's not gonna be on
You're talking
Facebook.
about your personal stuff. You don't
Right.
want to put your family pictures of your
Right.
family eating.
Right.
Yeah, but social media is good.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
know. I just said, dude, you don't have to attack me. I just said I'm not going on Facebook anymore.
Brother,
you and I
Did
should
you
do.
see what
you
he
want-
did?
Frank? We should do a MMA fight because we just got a little bit
Two
of.
little brother.
We got a background in
I'm looking at you guys
That'd be-
deciding.
we
who
used
I
to
might
fight all the
go
time. We're
for.
both black belts.
No.
Like
We started before it
it
was-
I could see it'd be a tough
Yeah.
match. Just looking from one E to the other.
We started before it was popular. So when we were growing up, we were 6, 7 years old. We were always fighting, and my
Yeah.
mom went nuts. So she took us to a counselor. Actually, goes, I don't know how to handle these guys. They're crazy. And they said, he goes, put them in karate. And,
Okay.
and she goes, why? He goes, well, they'll get it out of their system. So at 6 and 7 years old, we started in karate, and we didn't stop training until we're in our early 20s. And we just, that's what we did.
Dude, early 20s, we kept going past 20.
Yeah, but not like
Not
competing in
hardcore.
tournaments and stuff
right,
like
right,
that.
Right. We used to go to every tournament every week.
Let's
fought
go to those ones in
anyone.
Mexico.
But when you guys still at
Yeah.
home, we never took formal karate stuff, but we would watch World Wrestling Federation,
Oh, yeah.
All-Star Wrestling.
Yeah.
We'd
Yeah.
try
Slam
to
each
do
other on
judo
the-
stuff,
Oh,
you know,
of course.
throw you against the wall,
Breaking
take
things.
the couch pillows and stack them
Right.
against the wall.
Yeah.
We were practicing one day. We were practicing this flip. We're like going, okay, you're gonna put your foot in my hand like this, and I'm gonna flip you, and you're gonna do a flip. And I go, okay,
like
so I'll go,
cheerleader.
Frank, do it. Yeah. So he does it, and I kick a hole in the ceiling,
Oh no!
like a massive hole.
And my dad was not going to be happy about that.
No.
We're panicking, like, how
We
do
just
fix
left the
that
house.
thing? Yeah,
We just split.
ran away. It was
And my
so
sister
funny.
ratted us out. She was like 3 years old. My mom came and goes, where's the boys? And she went like this. My mom looks up this
they-
massive hole in the ceiling.
How'd you get up there? Yeah, I
What'd you
remember
guys
that,
do?
just like,
Yeah,
Oh.
it was easy. We could do a full flip like that. Now, if we did, we'd end up in the hospital.
So those, the thing about the trucks, man, is so scary because once those things start to go, or jackknife,
Yeah.
you know, or there's the black ice, and then you got there's so many things that go wrong, and when you have a semi truck, that's it. You're shutting down the freeway typically. You know, it's
Yeah.
not normal.
Well,
And
that's like Chucky, some of these places near Salt Lake City and
Yeah.
Park City. And I've taken deposition of a guy that slid off the road on ice, didn't have chains on, and say, what did you think the safe speed was there? And he said, well, 3 to 5. I said, did you ever consider going a speed of 0. He said, well, 0 is not a speed. I said, have you ever looked at your dashboard? There's a 0 on your dashboard, I bet. I said, sometimes the safest speed is 0. It's the only safe speed. And they don't
did you
think
tell
that
them
way, though.
0 is a number?
Right, 0 is a speed. That's you start at
0
0
speed.
before
I
you get every
remember,
other speed.
you want to hear this crazy story? I was coming on the 805, and there was a truck, tractor trailer, and it was holding one of those big, huge earth movers.
Oh, shit.
Okay, so it's going like
So it's a wide load, too.
wide load, and it's going about 65 miles an hour. And I see 2 other cars. They hit each other on the freeway, just a little fender, but one of the cars got out of control and started spinning, and it goes into the lane of the big semi truck.
Ouch.
And there was actually a fire truck in front of me, so I'm looking, I'm like, and then I don't see the actual collision, but I see the small little white car get thrown into the center median. All lanes of traffic just hits there, and it's smoking. So everything stops. So I'm waiting for the firefighters to get out, because I used to be in the fire department, lifeguard service, and I'm right behind him. Where's the fire guys? So I ran up to the fire truck, and there's this guy staring at us. He's out of service. He was just some mechanic driving the fire rig. I'm like, shit. I go, do you have any gear in this car? And he goes, I don't know. I don't think so. And I'm opening up all the pounds, and I find this one trauma bag that was still there. So I grabbed the trauma bag, and I run down the freeway, and I got to the victims. And it was four ladies in there, and they
Were they alive?
one barely, but one of them had like the door just split her in half, and another one was like down in the seat. I just saw the top of her head, like she got smashed.
I remember you told me about
Yeah.
this. This was a long time ago.
And this one looked at me, and I thought she was okay, and then this eyeball was hanging out. So I just said, hey, sit tight. I'm going to call. And then I saw other people run. Oh my God, they ran away. But I was trying to figure out triage. Okay, she's dead. I don't even know where her body is. And these guys, they had doors. It was just so bad. And you see the guy outside of his truck, just crying, like he didn't want to walk over. He knew it was a disaster. It was a friggin' disaster. The whole street shut. I'm looking at nothing happened to the.
When did
big rig.
chippies get there?
They got there like about pretty quick, within 10 minutes, and then I didn't really want to hang out, so I tried to triage this one person, got her stabilized, and then when the medics came up to me, I kind of just disappeared. And when I was going down the freeway, because they didn't know to stop me, because my rig was right by the fire truck, I remember looking back, and there was a helicopter coming. And it was like a scene from a movie where this helicopter is going to land on the empty freeway. And I just thought, I wonder who those women were and what they were thinking and how that happened. I watched the whole thing except for the impact. And that poor dude in the truck, because he was just driving, and there's no way he's stopping. And I just remember, nothing. The truck just, come on, it's pulling an earth mover, and it sent it so fast.
Yeah.
I thought the car was a piece of, fender or bumper. That's how fast it went across. It was like a spinning, smoking, just like, poof, and it was a whole car. I'm like,
And you wonder who was waiting on those people, what they
Right.
really planned on doing that day.
Right, exactly.
What they had planned the next
Yeah,
day
the whole-
that's not going to happen now.
yeah, I didn't think it was going to phase me. I always thought about that.
abrupt,
I-
life-changing
I
events.
I know who it was on the news. I just don't want to say it because maybe there's still people, but it was sad.
And it's funny because in litigation,
Yeah, what do
we
you do
actually
with
learn
that?
about where they were coming from.
Right.
They had dishes in their sink they were supposed to,
Yeah,
What if
exactly.
they'd stayed home and washed those dishes for another 4 minutes
Right.
instead of leaving the dirty
Or they
dishes
got the
in the
cat
sink?
at the house waiting for them. No one's coming home.
mean-
They got life. So so I was thinking, what do you even do in a situation like that?
You do what you did. You do
Yeah.
the best you can, and then move
You know,
on.
I'm talking about when they go to court, or the investigators.
Oh, yeah,
who's
that's
Try
at
to
right.
put it all
fault?
back
Well, there's
together
a
and
full-
unravel it.
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
witness statements and.
Yeah.
But now, like you said, there's a lot of video, and even the Teslas, they record things all the time.
Right.
They got cameras all over their
That's
cars.
like 360 on their.
Yeah, I was just
Teslas.
up doing an inspection. Today's Monday, like Thursday or Friday, the end of last week in Inglewood, California, a storage place, and it's a Tesla. And yeah, they actually, it's kind of ominous to watch because you actually see the car, the van's coming in like 35 miles an hour. And our guys stopped in a Tesla, and the camera just shows it coming in. It's kind of a fisheye camera.
Yeah,
It's
yes.
wide angle. But you can see that van coming. You're kind of going, you almost want to look away because you're thinking, this guy's not going to stop. It's like,
Yeah, and
it's
hits.
it's pretty ominous. And then the damage is pretty bad.
Did they survive?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So
And they're
are
heavy cars because those batteries are
like 4,000 pounds, right?
yeah, like
So
$4
about
grand.
$4,000.
Yeah.
2 tons. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of weight for a car.
My car, the VW ID4 is right around 4.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's like got all weights
Wow.
at the bottom. Not weights, but the batteries are heavy.
What are they going to do with these batteries when they can't recharge them? I think
Yeah,
they,
that's the big
well,
question, I guess.
Actually, they do repurpose them and they sell them to houses with solar.
Oh, okay.
That's what they're gonna. That's what I think they're gonna do.
Because you picture
Because
the
you-
landfill, Miramar landfill,
Right.
just full of batteries,
Right.
like, with acid.
So
you
much
know?
for taking care of the planet, but those are batteries, and so I think when they're not chargeable to a certain degree to haul a car, you could put them on your solar so they can have like used batteries and get your battery wall.
Who knows? Maybe.
But there's a whole other podcast on how they get the cobalt to make those batteries, which is like
Yeah.
it's so weird that people think they're doing so great things by driving electric cars, and they know where the cobalt's coming from, and they know how many people are
The
suffering
lithium.
for it, and the
Right.
lithium, and how they farm it and such bad crap going
Yeah,
on.
that's not even. That's
That's a whole
We'll be here
different
for 4
podcast.
hours.
So how do we get a hold of you again? Now you have to say it.
You know, you can Google Sean Simpson, San Diego lawyer, or you can get Course Confession lawyer, or Simpson Law Group in San Diego is our home office.
So basically, if you ever get hassled by your employer, sexual harassment, criminal charges.
I've done age discrimination, gender discrimination. I have a trial. My next
How
trial
about the
is
people that
pregnancy
put?
discrimination
Here's the
case.
one you're probably gonna get really busy on. Is now people that the baby boomers take up a big population. There's adult kids that have to put their parents into homes, and those homes are always like you think of nightmare when they come to homes. You get many cases of that.
Yeah, it's called elder abuse cases.
Elder
Sort of.
abuse.
There's a statute called ADACPA. It's Elder Abuse Dependent Adult Civil Protection Act, ADACPA for
Jeez.
short.
He's good.
And so, what
He knows his stuff.
If that's the Bible when you handle those cases.
Right.
You have to study ADACPA, the statute, and it tells you what you can and can't do. And they're pretty intense cases because a lot of the
They're called SNPs, right?
SNFs,
SNFs.
Skilled Nursing Facility,
Yeah.
SNF, and but the people that run these, you don't want to go to a privately owned one because the bottom dollar is such a focus point that they want to use the cheapest linens, the cheapest starch, the cheapest pest
Employees?
control. Don't do pest control, monthly. Skip them. They start
So
skipping things.
not
and
privately. What do you want to
We
do?
want to go to government owned because so the tax dollars are coming in. So nobody's. I mean, I shouldn't say nobody.
Got you.
but
Yeah.
There's not somebody at the top of the
Right.
pyramid collecting all the money.
You think it'd be different?
Yes.
I
you
would think the
private-
government would be crappy and the private would be better.
Right. Yeah, that's
but now
it's
that you say that, it makes
counterintuitive.
sense.
Same with my dad told me, if you ever get hurt bad, go to a teaching hospital. I was going, I don't want a bunch of doctors are still learning. He said, no, you don't. What do you want? A doctor's been doing the same thing for 70 years and doesn't know about new modern technology and new prescriptions and techniques. You want it, and I understand, UCSD, and
Right.
that's where these young doctors are freshly taught. They know the modern medicine,
Right.
and they want to make a name for themselves, or they're hustling. Where you get a doctor that's been doing it for 40, 50 years, kind of doing the same day
Yeah.
in, day out, mundane, and nothing. There's, like you said before, there's good doctors, bad doctors, good school teachers, bad school teachers, good lawyers, bad lawyers. But that's it sounded counterintuitive at first, and I said, "Oh yeah, you definitely want to go to a teaching facility. You want the smartest guys in the world." And UCSD, man, my dad was doing his residency. He's running their residency program in reproductive health, and I was helping him look through resumes. Once I said, "Jesus, Dad, Stanford 4.0, Harvard 4.0, Columbia." I said, "How do you?" He said, "They're all from great Ivy League schools, getting straight A's." He said, "Yeah, we get the cream of the crop want to come to San Diego because they've been, in the winter they want to come for the weather." He said, I basically usually go to the last page and look to see, are they into ballet? Do they sing in a choir? Do they have some unique feature that makes them different than just a brainiac? So I said, okay, I get it, because it's other than that, you can't really distinguish on their 4.0 best school in the country. It's like you went to UC,
That's good
Very-
to know.
UCal,
Very
Berkeley,
good, because my
Stanford.
daughter's pre-med.
Is she? Okay.
Yeah. She's studying in college now.
Tell her to do something other, have some unique characteristic, whatever.
She's a softball player.
Softball,
Freaking
good.
loves.
Yeah, that's my dad. Look a lot. My dad was an athlete, played college football and stuff too. At same college that Ronald Reagan went to back in Eureka.
Really?
Yeah,
What was your dad, a doctor?
yeah. He's a surgeon. And he's not with us anymore, but he was. I think when he retired, they did calculation, he worked in two of the busiest hospitals in the country, Denver General and Cook County. And I mean,
Cook counties.
Yeah, he'd have nights where he'd deliver like 7, 8, 9, up to 12 babies one night. You know, from when it would rainstorm, when the barometric pressure changes and people are in labor, and he said, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he had stories, man. He said, yeah, you know, I'm in triage and going from in labor and delivery, going from one room to another. And one guy, he goes, oh no, you have to stay in here with your gal. And the guy kept walking my dad. He goes, no, she's mine too. And so the guy had two women delivering. He's thinking, okay, if he had two women delivering at the same place at the same time, how many other women out there did he have? I was like, and he was as proud as could be. He said, well, hold on a second. He went and checked at the counter and said, I'll be damned. Same day. He said, I never thought that statistically.
Sisters.
Or a threesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Two of his sisters.
Yeah, exactly.
From bad to worse.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
No, and he had stories.
Did he have one tooth?
And he had stories about a lady where he'd be doing a digital vaginal exam one time, and he pulls out an old grape, and he kind of like, he's kind of holds it up like, okay, what am I supposed to say? And she goes, oh, that Leroy, he's always doing that funny stuff. You know, kind of like, no big deal.
A grape.
And like, I just got lost in there.
Yeah.
Like, but you know, that's Cook County Hospital.
Oh, every hospital has those doctors. See some stories. You know,
Yeah.
So they estimated that he probably brought more live births into this world than any other obstetrician gynecologist in the history of America. And so I was like, that's pretty cool.
Gee, that is cool.
It wouldn't surprise me because he never took vacations. He took half days on Wednesdays to
he was
go play golf
dedicated.
Wednesday
That was his
afternoon.
life.
Well, he did, and you know, and I'd see people he knew, women, and I'd say, God, what's it feel like to see my dad like at the country club or something? And it's like, and you were in his office the week before, getting your private. He said, "No, your dad is so professional. He's always directly in your eyes, no nonsense." I said, "I don't want to go anybody else.
Right.
And in fact, I love your dad because he never has anybody substitute for him. That's one thing about when you have like a really personal relationship, like a kind of a sensitive.
Very
area like
rare
that.
these days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you don't even get a doctor. Some
Yeah.
RN is going to deliver your baby or less.
The receptionist.
Yeah, the receptionist. Like, no big deal.
He was old school too. He didn't promote. A lot of these new younger doctors just want to schedule a C-section. Schedule a C-section. You know, they don't want that tension of the fetal heart monitor beeping at you and stuff like that. And it was funny.
It's so weird how they make those decisions. Like, just do a C-section. You know, like how about a natural birth?
My dad's look. Let's make every effort to go
Natural
vaginal
births.
first. Right.
Some women don't even want to carry the kid because they don't want to get stretched out. They get in a surrogate.
Right.
Yeah, that's happening too.
And they go, nah, I don't want all that, but you can carry it. And then it's my kid. It's so weird. And those surrogates make a lot of money.
Yeah, there's some tense legal
I
issues.
know a
go on
person,
there.
personally know a person who did that. We're like, bullshit. No. And she carried the kid.
Yeah, no, like $400,000 is not out of the. You know,
She got a
10,000
brand new
on the low
car.
side,
That's better than
$500,000
selling
on the
her
high
horse sperm.
Exactly.
Artificial somebody else.
Yeah.
Got $400K.
Yeah.
But I don't know how somebody could. I mean, that's a whole different issue. I'm not touching any of those.
That's a whole nother area of law.
Yeah, that's a whole other.
Because you got to
Yeah.
write a contract. Because what if the
Surrogacy.
person says,
I mean, hey,
I don't
I'm-
want to give the kid
right,
up.
that's
It's
right.
my kid
Right.
now.
And you get the hormone involved.
Right,
you know,
right.
there's a
Oh, my God.
Genetic
That's a
connection
gamble,
and-
man.
I'm not
You're taking
doing
a
it.
chance.
Right.
During that 9 months of carrying somebody else's baby, I'm kind of getting attached to this thing.
Right.
It's been in my body for 9 months.
Right. And they just go, no, my kid. You're like,
Yeah.
no.
So,
it's
Sean,
mine."
I'd like to bring you back.
Right.
You seem like the
Yeah.
legal expert that, you know, you know about everything.
Yeah.
I mean, I usually have an attorney. We do a lot of, like, I don't know, border stuff, DEA, ATF, drugs, crime, civil, but you touched on everything and very well versed. So
Like I
thank
said,
you. You
not
are a
'cause I
scrapper
wanted to.
too.
I had to be. Yeah, I had to fight. You know, I
Yeah.
had young kids, and I wanted
Yeah.
them to be grown up well. You know,
Yeah.
and be able to be buying bikes when they want a bike and rollerblades when they want rollerblades.
Do you have a what's your email address? I mean, listen, there may be millions of people
Simpson
watching
Law.
this, but yeah, do you mind giving it out?
No, it's Sean, SEAN, at SimpsonLawGroup.com. All one word. It's Sean
Perfect.
at SimpsonLawGroup.com.
Okay.
And I'm a
This is a person you want to know. Looks like he deals with everything, especially if you have a parent or a disabled child that may be in a care of somebody else. You want to always have protection. You want to always know what's going on. That got to me because there's a lot of people going into nursing homes. You want to make sure they're clean. You want to make sure they're not being abused. You want to have somebody that knows the rules of that. And right now, I'm suggesting that you keep Sean on your Rolodex.
But
yeah,
also,
and if you have a loved one go in a facility,
Yeah.
visit them. It's
Visit
not
them.
easy, but visit them because if you don't visit them, their water pitcher's going to be empty. They're going to have cockroaches in their denture cup. They're going to have ant races on TV all day. They're going to be wearing a posy restraint vest, sitting there. They're going to be treated like a piece of meat.
Like warehousing.
Yeah, it's called
Oh,
warehousing to
sick.
death. Yeah, they warehouse. That's the problem. They want to keep you alive, so the check keeps coming in from
Kept
Medicare
coming
and
in,
Medi-Cal.
right, but they don't care
But they
about
don't
your
want you to be active. 'Cause
quality
then you
of life.
Then you pay attention to you. So they want to basically keep you alive but sedated. So it's very sad. It's very. It's just
so bad.
And the smell. I say it's not easy to visit them because the smell in those places. It smells like people that are babies, but they're adults. Some are wearing diapers, and they've got
Like Frank's
philosophy
bedroom.
bags. Yeah, it's not it's like a locker room or a teenager's bedroom or something like that. Yeah, and there's sounds. They make like there's dementia.
Oh, man.
So it's not easy.
Not
but,
a place that you want to hang out
but-
that much.
And oddly enough, one of the places we sued here in town, the name was Care with Dignity, and we said this is anything but care with dignity. This is.
Right.
So if this is dignity, I don't want to see anything indignation.
Right.
So we had some theories we built into that case, but yeah, actually the guy that owned it was crying when the verdict came in. It was a pretty big verdict, and he was crying, and the judge like, "What's the matter?" Judge Fred Link is a pretty prominent, outspoken judge. He said, "What's the matter? What are you crying about?" He goes, "I didn't even want to inherit this business." And he was actually mortified. And it was a situation where he got stuck in a business he inherited and didn't know how to get
How to
out of
do
it.
it,
Yeah,
right.
and it was. Yeah.
I don't like bullies, but I don't like child abuse, and elder abuse is one of the things where I just can't tolerate that.
Preying on the innocent
it's
kids,
so
and
bad.
elderly and
Yeah,
young,
just-
and then just even your own employees. You're going to take basically torture. It's a mild form of torture to hold somebody
Yeah.
against their will.
Oh, my God, they
until
know-
they
what do
confess
you
to something they
do?
didn't do.
Yeah.
And I have my guy right now in Chicago who's high anxiety. He has ADHD. And he was literally for 3 days he wanted to kill himself because he didn't. And actually, he was writing text during the interview. The guy stepped out to smoke a cigarette or something, and he was in there. He goes, "What's happening?" His brother's a lawyer in Boston, not a residential contractor lawyer, construction lawyer or something. But he said that doesn't sound right. So he's actually going through. He's expressing his mortification during the process of not knowing helplessness. They take you basically when the experts testify about it. They put you in a state of despair, and then in a state of despair. You basically they make the illogical logical. In other words, confessing to something
Right,
you
you
didn't
don't know what you're going to do. You're there for 2 hours. You're just going to answer the question.
It becomes the right thing to do.
Right.
And falsely confessing, is the right thing because
to
you
do.
want to not
Get out of
you
the
want-
situation.
Yeah, you don't want to go away in a squad
Right.
car, and you want to come back to work the next day.
Right.
Little do you know that those are two things that are going to happen within
right.
half an hour. You confess, and you're cops in the parking lot.
Right.
So it's pretty aggressive. It just,
Yeah.
I mean, that's preying on people like that. I mean, and you'll think, oh man, I would never do that. No, you'd be surprised if you needed your job. It's like 98% of people. It's like the statistic of people say, oh my God, can you believe Bill Clinton lied about having that girl in that Oval Office?
Right.
98 or 99% of
Of
men
course.
in that situation would say do the same thing.
Right.
Lie about it. And
Right.
so 98% of
Keep your
employees, when you're being coerced and you need your job, have I had people get up and walk out and say F you? Yeah.
Right.
And God bless them.
Right.
God bless them for having the heart to do that and the wherewithal. But
Yeah, but most people, you're right. They got kids. They got diapers to buy.
yeah. And they're afraid of walking out. Thinking, hey, if I walk out, I'm probably going to lose my job for sure. And
Right.
then they might call the police anyway. You want to solve it. They get you in a position where you want to solve the problem there.
But little do they know what they fear is really going to happen.
Yeah. It's exactly what you gave in to avoid.
And it's worse than.
Surprise. We told you we weren't going to get the police involved. We told you to keep your job. You're fired, and here comes the police. It's like, wow. It's like, come on, man. This can't really be happening.
It's like a nightmare.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
thanks for coming in, man. We'll do
Sean,
it again. That was fun.
thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate you.
Good to be hitting there with
If
the
you
Powell
like
brothers.
what you just heard, subscribe, check, hit the notifications, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by.